Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Late Game Episode 9. I'm your host, Lycan. With me, we have four fine individuals. We have Stefan Pengwin Mott with My Insanity. We have Gillyweed, host of StarCrafts. We have Rifkin. You know him, you love him for base craft stars. Excuse me. Rifkin from Trade Base TV. See, fixed it. And then you have the ever Russell Destiny. Hello, everyone.
What's up?
Hello.
Hello.
I guess I should have directed that because no one wants to talk first.
I wasn't sure if this was like class where you're like, hello, students, and everyone's supposed to be like, hello, teacher, or like, what the...
Hello, Lycan.
Welcome to the new semester.
Oh, man. I need, like, some kind of device that I ring every time there's an awkward turtle moment. Just to break up the monotony of it.
You need an easy button.
And yes, or
you know,
GG button.
You hit it, it's like, that was easy. Well, GG's kind of overused in the StarCraft scene, you know? Everyone has a GG button.
This is true. I'll find something. I like that was easy. I'll see what I can do. Maybe... Oh, you know what I've got? There's that, there's a button on the internet that you can play the Inception sound. That dong. Penguin, it's the first time having you on. How's your weekend? That's what we talk about since it's Monday.
Not that great. I'm sick. I'm getting over it. I'm almost unsick, which is good because I'm going to DreamHack in like 2 days. But I was supposed to go to England for Insomnia 53, where I was going to be casting Passion Stone. But I was too sick to do that. So instead I sat around and played ladder and stuff.
Casting that Passion Stone.
Money. Dirty esports money, yes.
Gillyweed, you are also a first on here. How was your weekend?
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was okay. I played some Dragon Age, which Dragon Age Origins is one of my favorite games ever, so I was really pumped to actually try out Inquisition. And I had a nice weekend at home after 2 straight weekends being gone, so that's always good. It's pretty good.
Good. Graham, how was your weekend? Any cool base trade stuff happen?
Yeah, we finally finished 32 boys, 1 cup. Thank you, God.
Wait, wasn't your winner parting?
Yeah, party won. It was pretty cool. It was actually a surprisingly close series with him versus Gumio. We kind of thought there'd be a bit of a stomp, you know, because of the whole fight first Flash and fight versus Gumio thing. But yeah, it was an incredibly close series, surprisingly, and we even got a trophy to send to him, and he's really excited about it and everything. So,
do you have pictures of the trophy?
We tweeted one. I can give you a link here. Just give me a sec.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, the trophy itself got kind of dram hacked a little bit. We requested 32 boys, but they put 32 guys on it. So we're like, you know what? Dram hack, boys, guys, whatever. Fuck it, we'll just keep it.
All right, I'm gonna test something real quick, and this is for the chat. All right, I'm gonna mute my mic, and you tell me if you can hear the keyboard because apparently I'm really bad at choosing the right mic. So hold on.
You know they're named, right? Like you have names for your microphones in the audio options.
Well, so I'm a scrub and I use XSplit, and I can't fucking look at that.
Dude, yes you can. XSplit 2.0, bro.
Maybe I need to download something then, because it doesn't let me into my settings while I'm streaming. Oh well.
Wait, what are you trying to do? Just mute your microphone?
Well, no. So I want to make sure
mic
it was the right mic.
How many microphones do you use?
Well, sometimes the fucking thing picks up my webcam. So when I'm thinking I'm muting myself, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
Do you ever use the webcam mic for anything ever?
No.
Okay, right-click your recording devices.
Yeah.
Find that device that says whatever is the webcam microphone. It might say like USB mic or something like. I don't know what the microphone is listed. Right-click it and disable it, so that'll never ever happen again. It'll probably say like HD Pro webcam C910 or 920, whichever one you're using.
Yeah.
Can you disable that?
Actually, no. It just has one microphone open, so I guess I've already disabled all those. So I guess I just didn't have it muted.
Okay, yeah.
Oh well, that's all right. Anyway, Destiny, how was your weekend?
Fucking great, man. I've been playing so much fucking StarCraft. My passion is back in full fucking swing, dog.
Really? Like?
Yeah, I played like 200 or 300 games over the past 3 days.
Holy shit! How are you doing? I saw last time I saw you like 70 GM.
Yeah, something like that around there.
That's good shit. That is good shit.
Yo, real talk for a second?
Yeah.
I know this is just going to probably cause trouble by bringing it up. I'm really liking seeing you and Winter streaming at the same time. Like, not because there's like, oh, one stream's better than the other, but it's just nice having like a lot of fucking viewers in StarCraft, like generally speaking. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Hey, do you wear your blue coat out in public on a regular basis?
fucking love that coat, man. It looks so. I get so many fucking compliments. You have no fucking idea how hot that coat is, dude. Holy shit.
I dug it at DreamHack. It looked right. Everyone else is indoors in t-shirts, and then there's Destiny, his big blue coat.
Okay, to be fair, German people are really... This might be a European thing, but these guys, like, leave, like, all the doors open all the fucking time, right? So I live in Nebraska where it's, like, 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty fucking cold here. And I figure, okay, I'm going to Germany. It's only, like... It's, like, 50 in Krefeld, which is, like, not even close to as bad as it here. But apparently they all leave their doors open, like, all the time. So it's, like, 50 degrees inside everywhere, too. It's fucking cold, man. Of course I wear my coat.
I'll remember that for next time I go to Germany, but I think I want to go when it's a little warmer, because I'm going to be outside and see shit.
Sure.
All right.
Also, I was in a Home Story Cup too, not DreamHack.
Oh, is that what I said? I'm sorry. DreamHack's coming up. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, next couple days.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we go into that, Gilly, you were at Copa America.
Yeah.
So we kind of hashed out Copa America as far as the games and all that, just from who won and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like being in there? Was this a big convention? Was it like BlizzCon size, half BlizzCon? What were we talking?
Oh no, it was like a university auditorium, so it was really small, but it was cool. There were still lots of booths and a ton of people there, and they had a lot of booths outside too to make up for the small venue size.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, the venue size made it kind of, I don't know. There were a lot of technical issues and I don't know, sound issues and stuff as well, but it was still really, really cool. And I think the coolest part was something that, I don't know why I was concerned about it, but I was thinking that the players like Major and Katz would have just all of the fans, and definitely Katz did, because he's Peruvian and it was in Lima, but I thought maybe like Desro and Huck and Jon Snow, being newcomers, and there was a lot of apprehension about letting the Canadian and U.S. players in at the very beginning of Copa America. I was worried that they were going to be, not well received or whatever, well received, but they loved them. Desro and Huck, after Katz got the top cheers at the end when they were announcing them, they were taking pictures constantly with all of the players, and I thought that was really awesome. It was something that I wasn't really expecting, but was really pleased about.
So I could see a bit of the crowd. Desro tweeted some pictures. I saw some of yours. I mean, what was the energy like versus the crowd size?
So part of the issue that frustrated me, but I understand why they were doing it, is they had one main stage, but they were also showing panels there too, so they would only show some of the matches there, key ones, like when Katz played Major, and then a couple of key ones on the second day as well. I wish that they had been showing all of them there, otherwise people kind of had to stand around the booth where people were playing, and you could only kind of slightly hear the commentators. But when they had it up on the screen, the whole entire thing, it was funny, nobody would be watching the panels, and then when they put StarCraft up, people would immediately fill it. There was standing room only, and people were really cheering and getting into it, making lots of signs on things that were actually supposed to be made signs out of, these giant plastic tubes. I don't know if you were watching, but one of them had Power of Protoss written across it.
I think I saw that one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was it like? I guess it's in a foreign country. I mean, did a lot of people speak English at these booths, or was it
I didn't really go to I didn't go talk to very many people at the booths, but a lot of people. Peru's known for being a country that doesn't have a lot of English-speaking people, because there was a lot of unrest. There weren't a lot of tourists earlier on, and I think that's maybe what contributed to it. But people were still really kind. They understood that I spoke very little Spanish. I took some in school, but didn't really keep up with it. And they would just do their best. We were able to communicate enough that it was still really fun and talk about StarCraft. It was great.
Yo, you should ask Gillyweed about her hotel.
Gillyweed,
Oh,
tell me about your hotel.
Okay, so I get there, and I knew this was going to be a problem. I had already talked to the hotel once, but my flight landed at midnight on Friday. But really, you need a Thursday night reservation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew this was going to be a problem. So I get there and they don't have any record. They say, "Oh, you're not supposed to be checking in until Friday, but we do have one room available." So my room is supposed to be paid for, but they let us stay there that night, and then I went down right before checkout to see if everything had been cleared, and they said, "Oh, well, the company's not going to pay for your room." So then we're kind of scrambling, ended up leaving and going to a different hotel because it wasn't very nice. And my thought was, well, if I have to pay for it anyway, we might as well go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So my husband was with me. We left. We went to a different hotel. Then got a call at like 7 p.m. "Oh, the hotel is paid for you, so you can go back." Well, at that point, we didn't go back. we did get that first night refunded, thankfully, but it was just like such a cluster, and I knew it was going to happen because, like I said, we landed at midnight, and there was just going to be, between language differences, there were 3 different languages being spoken. It was a mess.
Jesus. Well,
yeah.
I mean, so overall, trip was a good trip?
Yeah, it was awesome. Lima food, Peruvian food, is amazing.
Did you have the chicken?
I didn't have the chicken, but I had lomo saltado, which is like the steak with like grilled tomatoes and onions, and then it's in this like sauce that has soy sauce in it as well. But it's a sauce that I've never really tasted a flavor quite like it before. It's really good.
Have you ever had that? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and then I had ceviche as well, which is
yes.
You know what ceviche is?
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
For those who don't know, ceviche it's raw like squid and fish and all that, and it's cooked in like a citrus juice. I think it's lime juice and stuff like that, and that cooks it, and it's just it doesn't cook it, but it kills the little nematodes and stuff that live inside it, and so you don't get poisoned.
Yeah, it's not cooked, but it was really good. I don't like seafood at all. I'm not a big fish fan, and I thought that it tasted really good because it's so fresh there. Everything was fresh. The fruit and vegetables way fresher than we have here.
Good. Well, fuck yeah. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah.
So, Rifkin, 32 boys, 1 cup. Let's talk about the overall experience. What was it like running this particular tournament compared to all the other ones that you've run yourself?
Okay, so this one was, I'd say, a little bit bigger than the last. We had qualifiers for several groups. It was definitely... It was really interesting, actually, because it was harder to organize when we got to the round of 8 than it was when we had 32 people from like every different region of the world. I don't know what the dynamic of that is, but like the second we hit the round of 8, that's when all the problems began. People had to fly to things like Copa America. It was going to be an issue for Huck if he had made it. There was people flying to MSI for the Beat It. There was just going back to Korea for Crank and such. Like it became a monstrous scary thing. So this tournament that was supposed to resolve itself before BlizzCon even happened ended up going for like until just yesterday or just this past weekend. So I was a little bit stressed, I think, to say the least. But overall, it was a good tournament. It was a fun time. I mean, it wasn't our first time running a tournament like that big or the prize pool so crazy. But I was really pleased with the way it came down. I was really glad we got like an ace match finals as well, that it wasn't some sort of 3-0 stomp. I don't know. It was a great time. And, of course, the shit I've been given for the last month and a half about the name of the tournament finally comes to an end, too, which is really nice.
How much shit did you get for this?
I don't know, man. Like, it depends who you're talking to. Like, the level-headed people found it to be a funny joke. Everyone on Reddit would, like, get up in arms about it. It just depended on who you were talking to. I don't think anyone actually was furious that it was named 32 Boys, 1 Cup, but it certainly had some extra panache to it, I guess we could say.
How are the players to work with? I think a lot of these guys you have worked with in the past.
Interesting dynamics. I'm not gonna like say anything super negative because there really isn't anything super negative to say. But it's the same as always. Like the Korean guys are there exactly when you need them to be, not before, not after. Except Parting, who we almost had to disqualify because he went AFK for like 20-40 minutes or something. But the North American folks, they have more school-related things to work around, so it's a little bit hard to schedule things at, say, 5 a.m. For someone like Intense, who, as good of a player as he is, still has to wake up the next morning for school. It was perfectly fine. No issues at the end, but it's just that same thing where the Europeans are ready whenever you need them to, so are the Koreans, and the North American players are the ones you got to work around.
Well, good. I caught a couple of games in it. I really like it as always. I like the shows you put on. You had a lot of good players and a lot of good games.
I'm glad you liked it.
Is Pengwin? We need to clear this up. Are you dying?
No, man. It looks a lot worse than it is. Basically, I'm keeping my mic muted whenever I need to cough and such. I'm alive. Don't worry too much.
Penguin's alive,
I
just
think.
like StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I should be fine. Don't worry. The doctors told me that I will at least survive until the end of the show.
Good. All right, that's all that matters, really. I mean, Destiny, I have a question, and maybe I don't know why, but what is Ek? Is it supposed to be like? Is this what Keck has evolved into? Is Etch or Ek?
You don't know. You don't know Ek.
I don't know Ek.
You don't know Ek.
Man, it's Risky Chris.
Wait, you really don't know? Do you?
I seriously have no fucking clue.
There's a video you can watch over the downtime.
I would recommend not watching it.
I don't.
It depends how much you hate yourself right now.
It'll help you understand where Ek comes from, but do you really want to understand?
I want to understand. If it's something terrible, I won't watch it on stream, but I do want to understand.
It's just not a guy said it. Ek! He just said it in a pretty funny way, in a pretty funny context. So that's where Ek comes from.
Gotcha. Well, now the chat. Ek. All right. So, moving on. I found the Inception button. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Sounds like thunder.
It's really quiet. Yeah.
It's pretty quiet.
I see the paperclip popped up and said, I see you're trying to add drama to a situation. Oh, that's awesome.
How long have you been waiting to use that one?
Oh, God. All right. All right, let's talk about... Go ahead.
Oh, just the last one.
All right, so let's talk about MMR. And we're going to go with the MMR and the Dream Pool. This is something that, and I want to avoid the circle jerks and misunderstandings about MMR and just talk about how people would feel if MMR was a little easier to fluctuate. Kind of like in Counter-Strike Go, where we understand that in StarCraft, rank is not definitive. It's not like, oh, I'm only Platinum, but I could be Grandmaster, if I had the time. None of that crap. It's just, we understand that it's not necessarily a sign of how good you are. If your win rate is 50%, you're probably where you belong. But would it be a little more motivating to people if when they go on those win streaks, if they fluctuated a little easier, if there was a little more give and take with that MMR? I'm going to point that one to Pengwin. Yeah.
I think MMR right now, just the place where it is just really, really annoying. And I say this because basically I tend to generally I'll play on say I played mostly on my barcode last season, and then with the Dream Pool, at the beginning of the season, I just lost so much on my barcode just because I wasn't playing properly with the maps, so I just got fed up, and now I'm playing on my other account, and my other account had decayed down to Diamond MMR because I hadn't played on my Penguin account in two seasons, and I had to beat 5 Grandmaster players to be promoted into Masters.
Damn.
So, I'm not a big fan of the way MMR is working right now, and some of my friends who don't play that much, they'll go through phases where they won't play for a month or two, and then they'll come back and they'll be dropped down to mid gold when they were high platinum or whatever, and their skill hasn't actually deteriorated that much. They just stomp through everybody for 40 games until they're back to where they should be.
And it takes a long time for them to get promoted. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's not fun for anybody. It's not fun for the people who are just having ridiculously easy games. I mean, some people find that fun, but a lot of people they want to have a challenge. They want to play somebody who's at least relatively close in skill to them. And especially for the person on the losing side, that's also just not fun at all. So it kind of ruins the ladder experience for any of the games that are involving one of those people who's had too much MMR decay.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I think that's the biggest issue is that Blizzard has released their stats on how many people are affected by it, but those people don't just play one game and get back to their normal. They play a lot of games. You see people at the top of the ladder on a new season with 40 wins, 1 loss, and they're still stuck there. What do you think, Rifkin?
I think that right now I really hate playing North America because even in fucking low leagues there seems to be a lot of map hackers, and MMR aside, NA sucks.
Confirmed Rifkin can't win on ladder, blames map hackers.
No, dude, I was like, oh man, I'll stream for some funsies while we got some downtime, and 3 games in a row, 2 out of 3 are fucking people who are clearly map hacking. It's not even close to hiding it or anything.
Yeah. How do you how do you determine a map hacker? What's some sign that you see? Is it just like such blatant, counters in a lower
Sometimes
league?
it's really, really obvious.
Sometimes,
like,
yeah, it's
oh,
really
you
obvious
cloak
sometimes.
Banshee didn't get scouted, but everything is there, and you go the other way, and everything's still there. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's there's some people who are pretty good at hiding it, because that's why those threads come up. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe so and so is a cheater or whatever. But for the most part, like people just do it, and I don't know why. And just to be pricks,
I
guess.
actually I played like a map hacker like 4 times in a row like a year and a half ago on NA, and I asked him like, yo, why do you literally actual question, why do you do this? And he's like, I really want to play against like pro players, and I won't get there with my MMR, so I map hack instead. That actually makes sense.
I can see how people would find map hacking fun. Even not that every single map hacker is an evil dude, just like, I made your day shitty. It's just I enjoy being able to see what you do, and even though because not everyone wins every game with the map hacking. There's still platinum.
Well, they still have like fairly evened out win rates because they end up just like their MMR will still even out where they're 50-50. They're just playing people who would be way better than they are without the hacks.
Exactly. So I don't know. I think it is a system that Blizzard could rework, and I can't see a reason really not to. I can't see a negative. Destiny, you've been playing like Counter-Strike Go a lot. I don't know about lately with your renewed passion, but with the CSGO you've been playing, did you notice any sort of mental effect going up and down in the leagues?
Well, I've heard I'm not in any great league. I only made it to Gold Nova 3, and I encountered maybe 3 or 4 wall hackers, like really blatant obvious wall hackers when I played, so it wasn't terrible. I've heard that and that's over like dozens and dozens. I think I played like 200 games of CS:GO, so that was over quite a few games. But I've heard that in upper leagues, the hacking situation in CS:GO is really, really bad, like really bad. I don't know how true that is because I've never been like global leader or anywhere near that, so I'm not sure, but.
Okay.
Well, there's also the whole professional scene right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on like that right now.
Yeah.
Oh well, there's never an absence of drama in at least one scene. What is going on in the CS:GO scene? I've seen a little bit. I saw a pro team was disqualified from DreamHack winner.
Some guy made a list of like
couple.
Yeah, well, at least some guy made a list of like 8 or 10 pros that he said were probably hacking, or that he said were hacking, and so far 2 or 3 of the pros on that list have been VAC banned, confirmed hacking. So now everybody's starting to look at every other person. There's a guy named Fuchsia, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
And Fnatic that people are starting to look at, and like I've seen GIF after GIF of some pretty fucking damning shit from that Fuchsia guy, and he's probably going to be the next one to go. And there's a lot of people that are like running around looking at all sorts of players. Now a little bit of it's starting to feel a little bit witch hunty, but I don't know, man. It's a pretty scary time for CS:GO professional people.
Well,
if you're a hacker.
I think the problem with that too is like there's indications that this may be happening at LANs too, and not through like some sort of program you download, but through the Steam Workshop or something. Like it's getting really crazy.
So the thing is, the way that you typically do it is, I want to get a hack for CS:GO, right? You download a hack or whatever, some bullshit. VAC eventually catches you and bans you, because the way that these systems used to work, it's similar to Blizzard's Warden, right? Where VAC will figure out some way to detect a hack, and then they wait for a little bit, they wait so they can catch as many people as possible, and then they do a giant ban wave. A lot of people get mad at Blizzard and Valve because why don't you ban them as soon as they're hacking? Why don't you ban? Because if you ban somebody the first day they use a hack, then the next hack is going to be out the next day. You're not going to get anybody else, right? So the goal is to try to catch as many people as possible while not taking too long to ban people. With these hacks, though, that some of these professionals are using, they're paying upwards of like 600 to 800 euros to these professional coders to program them a hack that they can actually download from the Steam Workshop that works that's integrated in Steam. You don't need another program for it. You can go to anybody's computer. He could go to your computer at your house and just log into a CS:GO Steam account, and the hack would be loaded for his account there. And they're very, very subtle hacks too. They're like 10 to 15% aim boosts, or they're with Fuchsia, a lot of people are saying that the hack is just it guarantees a headshot on the 12th shot, right? So a lot of people are looking at, oh look, he's only got 8 bullets left, and then it's a headshot. A lot of people looking at stuff like that. So these are like very, very ultra sophisticated hacks that are working at LANs. That's the big deal about this too, is that we've seen cheating in the past in games where it's happened online, but at LANs are where these hacks are being used too is like fucking crazy.
So you're saying the hack it's built into their account, so when they go log on that computer on the DreamHack stage.
Exactly. On Steam, as soon as they access their Steam account, they have access to those very subtle hacks. Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what about online tournaments? Rifkin, have you ever had an issue where someone reported one of your players hacking?
Not from any of my tournaments personally, but there have been issues and accusations. There are several players who actually, I'll just straight up say, like, they won't play unless there's a specific delay on the stream too, because stream cheating is still something players worry about. I mean, the thing is, whether people actually cheat or not, I have no idea. But I know that there's always that paranoia. It's a 1v1 game. You're looking for something to blame. Sometimes that's the case. Like, oh, there's no way he beat me. He must be cheating. But in some instances, you're like, okay, this guy played a little bit fishy. And in some very rare cases, it turns out that person was actually cheating.
Right.
So it's sad, but it's always going to be the case at everything. I mean, there's always going to be someone trying to get ahead, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's sad, it does suck. I mean, do I think it's going to... I don't think it's StarCraft, though, it's ruining anything. It just ruins the ladder, really, with the hacking. We don't see it a lot in the tournaments, and a lot of the big tournaments other than the qualifiers, So that's one thing, do you think anyone's... I'm sure it has happened, has tried to hack their way through a WCS qualifier?
Yeah, it has happened, wasn't it? There was a guy that was caught for it, wasn't he?
Yeah. He knocked out Cats, I think, or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
And, got in round 6 or something, and then was eventually finally disqualified.
I mean, let's not forget,
TLG was running it.
Everyone, just on the topic of cheating, let's not forget, okay, there's extremes of hacks, and then there's, win trading, too, that happened. The Chinese players that got banned, which really sucks, by the way, because I asked you, it was probably one of my favorite Chinese Zerg players to watch, but, that's just kind of that same concept where everybody's looking to get ahead. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how. And it kind of sucks.
Yeah, but it does. It does suck, and it's, I think we'll see what happens. I don't see us being as affected as the stuff going on with Steam and all that. That's all insane.
It does feel like, in general, whether it's the extremes of some of the most recent drama on Reddit or whether it's something like cheating, the StarCraft community seems to be very, very self-policing, which I think is kind of good for stuff like this. But at the same time, it's like, man, it gets out of hand.
What was that guy's name? His name was just Liquid SC on Reddit,
that guy.
And the idiot
he was drunk or something, and he posted a funny picture from a replay where he hadn't turned his map hacks off.
Awkward.
Wait, hold on. There we go.
That's a stupid button. It just sounds like there's thunder near your house, a low rumble to us. I don't know how it sounds on stream.
Anyway, so that guy hacked, and then the entire community just went fucking insane. But that guy also was as if, Junho C, which I haven't seen anything from him in a while, but someone that is that, you just see their shit every day. And a lot of people thought Liquid SC was associated with Team Liquid. I always thought that. And then it wasn't until the hacking thing that I found out he wasn't. But, because he had that little flare next to his thing from winning a tournament, which is funny because he probably hacked to win that tournament. I assume. Make that assumption. We're going to go transition to the next topic. But before we do, I want to watch this video so I can understand this phrase. So give me 1 second. We're going to...
So I only tuned in for 5 minutes of that, by the way, and I like watching most of the shit Destiny does on a stream, but I was like, I just can't.
It physically hurt.
Oh, yeah, this apparently is 1 minute, so just 1 second. Here it goes.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm so happy to speak to you. I really like you a lot.
I like you too, man.
I like you a lot, and I really like you personally a lot.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I don't dislike you. I just want to rape you. I'm gonna rape you. I'm gonna rape you. I like you a lot. I love you, Destiny. Destiny, I like you a lot. I really do. I seriously.
Oh, I can't no more. Holy God. Oh my God. That was so awkward. Oh, fuck. Alright.
It's kind of I gotta say, that's kind of the Destiny thing, right? I don't know what everyone knows everyone else for, but that's my memories. Listening to Destiny just pick stupid internet fights and inviting them on Skype.
I don't try to pick these are people that are
whether you pick them or not, you end up in them. Okay.
I know, but it's these are guys that have been very vocal on fucking different forums or Twitter or Reddit or whatever, arguing against me. It's all right, well fucking let's talk it out instead of just doing the little internet quips of each other, and then they get on, and it's like, well, fuck, like, what the fuck am I even supposed to say to this? Like, Jesus Christ.
I like you, Destiny.
Let's be honest, this guy doesn't come close to fucking DDoS Kid.
Oh my god. DDoS Kid was just... Oh, man. Didn't you speak to his dad?
Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. Those are weird. It's the closest I've ever been to driving to somebody's house and killing them, or an entire family.
Man, you know, I was talking about it. I think it was last week when you weren't here. I was saying that I am so glad that I'm on the good side of Stephen Bonnell, because listening to you fucking torture people verbally, just arguing with you, and you do this thing where you don't care. You say yeah, okay, and then you come back with your own insult, like just as if what they said meant nothing. And
wait, what are you talking about? I have reasonable discussions all the time.
I'm talking like, so I haven't.
Okay,
you do. I'm talking about. So I was watching the Deezer video, and it was one of your.
Oh, yeah, there's a difference between having like a reasonable discussion with somebody that
I'm not
to discuss something versus some guy that's just being an
right.
asshole, so it's just like
No, I'm not saying this is you
all
altogether. I'm just saying that if we were really, you know, I would hate to be one of those people that's on your bad side, that you're not. It can't even have a good conversation with, that you just fucking talk to annoy and torture. And
okay.
I felt almost bad for Deezer, because he would say something like he's trying to come back and you just brush it off, and everything would get repeatedly worse when he tried to throw it back at you. It's horrible.
I mean, it was Deezer. He could barely speak English. So, I mean, it was...
Where's he from?
The worst place in the world. Fucking Quebec. Every Canadian will agree. Are you Canadian? Are there any Canadians in here?
Yeah.
You're Canadian?
And
You hate Quebec,
agree.
don't you?
I don't think
Pretty
growing
sure
up I ever
if
heard
all of
good thing
Canada
about
took
it.
a vote on it right now, I'm pretty sure that Quebec would be like expelled from the Canadian Union or whatever you guys call yourselves.
Dude, actually no, because the irony was they spent like, I don't know, my entire childhood apparently trying to separate from the country and become their own thing, and Canada was like, nope.
Is Quebec like the Texas of Canada?
Oh.
Oh no, you have no idea. Quebec is.
Quebec's where Desra's from.
So let's talk Dream Pool now. We've moved on. Anyway, we've Dream Pool. What do you feel, Pengwin, when you play the Dream Pool?
If you ask anybody who's around my MMR, they will tell you that I am extremely cheesy. I like cheese a lot. So for me, the Dream Pool's basically the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of
Pengwin.
StarCraft 2.
But Pengwin, you're a great macro player who could defeat players like Nightin. Why would you cheese?
Yeah, I mean, I think my issue with the Dream Pool is that it just doesn't provide a great practice environment for people who are wanting to prepare for the next season of WCS. But honestly, like, on that note, like, the vast majority of people who are playing in, like, people who are preparing for WCS and stuff, like, on the European server, let's say, like, the vast majority of people are still at the level, like, even if you're, like, top 50 EUGM or whatever, like, most of those people can still benefit so much by just working on mechanics, and whatever map you're on, you can still work on your mechanics, you can still work on stuff like that. So I think a lot of people are kind of blowing out of proportion how bad it is for people trying to prepare, especially because a lot of people also have practice partners. And I think I personally, while I have like a pretty good win rate just because cheese is so good, but I don't really enjoy the maps very much. But at the same time, I think it's a great way to bring some people who haven't played StarCraft in a while back, and with sort of the nostalgia feel and stuff like that. So I think overall, I think the Dream Pool's a really, really good decision by Blizzard.
Are you using any Wings of Liberty build orders specifically, or just?
Yes. Oh my god. So when Metalopolis was in the map pool, I tried that on
that happened.
CVT. I got a couple wins with that on CVT and Cloud Kingdom. It was great. No, but I had a build that I used to use when I was Platinum League on Metalopolis versus Protoss, which is so fucking stupid. Where basically you go 14-14, and then you add you go Evolution Chamber, you get melee attacks before speed, and then you just flood +1 lings off one base, and it just works because they can't wall off of that gigantic entrance to the natural base.
Dude, man, Freaking actually, Departure did that versus Parting in the group stage at 32
Really?
points, 1 cup. Yeah, he beat Parting doing that.
That makes me really happy.
But
Steve-
yo, the DreamHack, or sorry, not DreamHack, Dreampool, I think. Sorry, I'm just gonna throw my 2 cents in here real quick.
Nobody cares.
I
love
actually think
you.
it's
I
really
love
cool
you.
because the
I love
Lima
you.
League's the only tournament I know using it right now. I
think
don't
Go
know.
Press 2 uses it.
Do they? I haven't
Yeah.
done Go for StarCraft 2 this week, so I was bad and I slept today. But I know that's really been bringing out interesting games, to say the least. So I think from the fan perspective, I think people are probably liking it. The finals of last week's Lima League was like, I think Keen versus Alive or Center versus somebody. Or, it was a TVT, but the final game came down to like both players rushing each other, so they both had like 2 SCBs they would come back off of, and like it was stupid and weird and like just one of those scenarios you never get to see. So I mean, I'm not someone who's keen on seeing Dreampool stick around forever, but I've kind of as a fan been enjoying it, I guess. Obviously I just am a shitty player, so I've got no opinion, but as a fan I've actually been enjoying it quite a bit.
I have been off racing as Protoss, and I don't know any Protoss builds. Anything I know about Protoss has been from watching casters talk about it. And someone messaged me the other day and said, I don't think you can go 10 gate and fast robo and win after beating me. And I think he was right. But I enjoy it, and I enjoy Blink Micro, and I think that Protoss, I do a lot more micro as Protoss than I do as Terran. I hate to admit that, but I really do, especially when it comes to Blink and force fields. And I like the new map pool. That's my piece. Steven, how do you feel about it?
My current state of mind, I like playing StarCraft a lot, and I'm relearning the game, or well, I'm trying to get good again, like actually playing like 8 hours a day and shit. So I mean, it's been interesting. Sometimes it's frustrating losing because the maps are very clearly not. I mean, they're very heavily biased for certain races depending on the map and depending on the matchup. But I mean, it's good practice. So I figure once the next season's real maps roll around, it'll be that much easier to win, hopefully. So I haven't minded playing on them at all.
Destiny, can I ask,
Yeah, what's
what
up?
are your map vetoes?
I don't veto anything anymore. I'm trying to be
What a man.
open-minded.
What a real man.
Wow.
So fucking brave.
Wow. Yeah,
Play it. Play it.
that's how we roll.
All right, so let's talk about Fragbite Masters, the actual tournament. Talk about that. We've got a couple rounds coming up. Let's put the screen up. There we go. Let's try to adjust this. There we go. Cool. So we've got Happy versus Bunny. MMA versus Gung Fu Banda. Is this a
Do you have
guy?
link for this, by the way?
Yeah. Shoot that to you. Sorta versus Bly, Stardust versus Madalisk, Blimko versus Solar, and Lilbo versus Bling.
Wait, what did you call Slivko? Did you call him Blimpko?
Blimco, yeah.
It looks like Blimko. Slimko.
Slimko? No, it's Sliv. With a
Sliv.
V.
I can't read it. It's small. Sliv. There. Jesus. God.
It's the resolution of your
we need to
monitor.
call him by his
Yeah, for
name.
real.
600 by 400, all the pixels are just mashing together.
Yo, real talk, Steelmaker is like the best anti-stalker player, period. Like, I stand by this.
Why do you say
I don't
that?
see anyone handle blank stalkers like he does.
All right.
How does he handle Blink Stalkers?
He rushes.
No,
his Lord
he's just like the
Investor
only
he does
person who
every
goes
other game.
fucking fungals. Like, that's it. Like,
Basically, Slipko's playstyle revolves around thinking it's 2012 and going Broodlord Infestor in every single game.
not too far off from the truth, I guess.
I know who Slivko is. I swear to God, I know who Slivko is.
Good. Well done.
If you don't, he'll break your
I'm talking to the
fucking
chat.
body in one hand. That guy's huge and swole as fuck.
Oh.
Jesus.
Okay, so Happy versus Bunny. I think it's going to be a good match. I think Bunny's going to take it, though.
Yeah. I think Happy's main problem is that for the entirety of his career, he's just been way, way, way too predictable, and he still is. And Bunny's really, really good at pulling out builds that he knows people are not particularly good against. Like, we saw him in G3 against Snoot, just 2-racks him like 3 times, because he knew Snoot wasn't very good against that. And I mean, he's not afraid to go for builds that might be a little cheesy just because he knows that they'll do pretty well against a certain style of play. So I actually think that Bunny's going to take that pretty handily.
No.
No? You think Happy's gonna win? You wish? Why? You want Bunny in your loser bracket? Oh, that's what it is? So Stardust is saying that it's like the former #1 Terran in Europe against the new #1 Terran in Europe.
Ah.
It's kind of a cool way to phrase it.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Does he want to throw a headset on and jump on?
No, he just walked away.
Stardust never wants to do this.
He's been
stuff.
like winning so much money on poker tonight, it's crazy. I think he's like riding on a high from that.
You have an in-house poker?
No, man, he's playing online. He ended his night after winning, I think, about $1,700 on one hand.
Jesus Christ. Fucking
Damn.
gamers. If you're good, you're good, apparently. Holy
I
crap.
remember hearing the
Yeah.
stories at the last Homestuck Cup, whatever. Like, you control us tweeting that Stardust is like so
That
good
was
at
so
poker.
funny. He hadn't ever played poker, and he just like sat down and won like the first 3 tables.
Like,
Just
but,
like he was like not even looking at his hands at the end. He was just like playing blind and just still winning ridiculous amounts of money.
so maybe that was a psych thing. Like, but does he
Kinda like playing
understand?
Protoss.
Yeah, he understands it quite well now. He plays a lot of poker.
Does he count? Is he counting cards? I mean, or is he just
I'm
got that
not
instinct?
Sure counting cards works in poker.
Not counting cards, but you have an awareness of what's left in the deck, right? Like percentages and all that.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe. I don't really know how it works.
So the rest of these sort of versus Bly. Graham, what do you think? Rifkin.
That's an interesting one. Bly is a volatile son of a bitch when it comes to playing anyone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there are seriously days where I think Bly could just, with sheer aggression, luck out and beat anybody. I mean, didn't he... Bly's the one who took out Rain, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of server stuff that's brought up for that, but it's been like, Bly's a guy who's unpredictable. Sometimes he will just pull out the craziest shit that you are like, whoa, I didn't realize Bly was capable of that. I think sort of ZVZ's always been pretty good, but just because of the unpredictability factor, I'm going to give it to Bly. Just because I have faith in the wild card, I guess, so to speak.
My favorite game from Bly was at MLG Dallas when he took a game off of Flash and just like kept tech switching constantly. It was so awesome to watch.
Well, the thing with Bly, too, is he's one of those Zerg players that will pretty regularly insist on still trying to go Broodlords. And it works, too. Like, he'll open with Spire, do like the Muta Roach thing, and then eventually go to Broodlords and hope to catch someone off guard. But I've casted more games with him losing trying to do that than him winning, but when it does work, it works really well. So, I mean, I really don't know how that's going to go, but I want to give my edge to Bly for sure.
Stefan, what do you think?
I'm
I
inclined
would...
to say... Oh, sorry.
Oh, fuck.
Which one? Was it
Steven,
Well,
go
there's,
ahead.
like, Stefan and then like Stevan. I guess.
Destiny, go. You haven't talked in a while.
I feel like sort of feels kind of weird. I haven't heard anything from Startup recently, but I think Startup is probably the more consistent player over Bly. I haven't heard anything from Bly in quite a while. And as you said, even when Bly was playing well, he was a pretty like volatile dude. Like sometimes he would do really well, and then other times he would just... I remember watching him play it a few Homestuck Cups ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. The tone of voice made me think there was more to that after.
I'm going to give it to... I would say Startup will probably win that. That would be my guess.
All right. Stefan.
I think Bly has this quite handily.
Think
Sort
so?
of. He's like making a bit of a comeback as a player. Like he's doing a lot better than he was before. But let me just make sure that my recent information is correct. He was playing in the Norcraft Cup this past week or so, and I know in the Swedish qualifier, he won the Swedish qualifier in the finals, but it was 3-2 against our academy player Winter, who's a good player, but like Bly is definitely a class above Winter, and it was very, very close games. And then in the actual Norcraft Cup, sort of did kind of well, but he got like unceremoniously kind of smacked to the ground by Snoot. I think it was 2-1, but I'm pretty sure like the 2 games that Snoot won were very one-sided.
Right. All right. What else we got? We have Slivko and Solar. Solar? Graham?
Solar's ZVZ has been so good lately. I remember once upon a time, Solar's ZVZ was like straight up his worst. Like you'd watch him play and you're like, oh, you're gonna lose, like no question. But Solar's ZVZ is so good lately. As much as I like Slivko for his ZVP, I don't think that's gonna carry him through ZVZ.
No? What do you think, Steve?
I have no idea. I know that Solar's good. I don't know enough about the other guy though. I haven't seen anything from Slipco in a long time. I don't know.
Penguin?
I give this one to Solar very, very easily. With lag, I can definitely see Slipco taking a game, maybe two, because Solar will be playing on the European server, and CBC with Korea to EU is very difficult to play. But Solar is like 2 or 3 levels above Slipco, and I think he should definitely be able to win that quite handily.
Okay, so I didn't do this intentionally. I swear to God, because I actually want to talk about this, but I jumped over the Metalisk Stardust one. So, in all seriousness, do you guys think that that Metalisk has a chance to take a game on Stardust?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm sorry.
I like Metalisk as a person. Like, I've met her a few times. She's very nice, and I do respect her as one of the better female players out there in the scene. But she did get 4-1'd by Queenie relatively recently, and like, Queenie's also quite good, but Stardust is like definitely
Stardust
so many levels above Metalisk, and I mean, I don't see that being anything other than a 3-0.
All right.
Like, I mean, my context especially is like Stardust beats players like Snoot, and so it's much as I think everyone may love and rally Metalisk because she's no Snoot, right? So
Stardust has made me a fan, a big fan, and it's hard to hate Protoss too much when you watch him play. But all right, Lilbo and Bling. What do you think, Graham?
Lilbo, I'd say. Lilbo just really, really, really freaking hot right now. Bling's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but I just think Lilbo's way better at this current point in time.
All right. What do you think, Penguin?
This one's really interesting because I was really confused why they invited Bling at all, because I was under the impression that Bling wasn't practicing very much and was not in very good form. But then he 2-0'd Mana to get third in his group, which is actually quite impressive because Mana's been playing quite well recently. And Lilbao, I'm not entirely sure how good his PvP is right now. I do think Lilbao should win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people expect.
Actually, that's kind of interesting because Mana beat out Lilbo to be who's the best European or whatever, right? So through process of elimination, then maybe I'll change my answer to Bling.
All right. Steve, you have anything on that one?
I would lean towards Lobo, I think, over Bling.
Okay. All right. Well, let us now move forth. I'm just going to preemptively do this. All right, so let's talk about Metalisk going to this tournament. And first, we're going to keep the two issues separate. We're not going to talk about the fallout from it. First, we're going to talk about her actually being invited, because that was a point of contention for a lot of people. I understand that it was brought to the forefront of many arguments because of what happened, but there was still grumbling from people in general. So, Steve, do you think it was a little bit of affirmative action? Do you think it was just, hey, it's a popular player, we want to do that, or was it we want to get a woman here to play?
No, it's a combination of all of them. You invite. I mean, there have been times where other foreigners have been invited to tournaments where it's pretty obvious they're going to be knocked out, but they get invited because they're popular anyway. I'm sure it was a similar decision here.
Do you think it's a little different if you invite, people were talking about grandmasters, so is it different inviting, someone that we know is going to lose, but they are still very higher tier player than Metalisk?
I think this is one and the same. Grandmaster isn't a very good differentiator. Like I'm Grandmaster. You can invite me to a tournament with all Koreans, and it's going to be about the same as inviting a normal Masters player to the tournaments. I mean, I don't think there's a big anything big to distinguish there between inviting like a GM foreigner to fight Koreans versus inviting like a Masters player to fight top EU players.
Okay, Rifkin, what do you think?
I think it's a lot simpler than a lot of people want to make it. She's Swedish. It's Fragment Masters. I mean, kind of makes sense that you'd want some hometown talent, no matter how good or bad they are, type thing.
Absolutely. So, now, do you think there was anyone else at the tournament that was kind of in the same situation?
See, I don't know about that, but it's like you got to take some things into consideration, like how many Swedish players are there readily available to play at a semi-professional or professional level, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't like we talked about Copa America again. Like that's an example. They limit how many other people can actually join, so it's majority hometown heroes, so to speak.
Right.
I'm not shocked that we saw something similar here, and I know a lot of people are focusing on the fact like, oh, she's a girl or she's Masters or whatever. I just look at it more simply like, okay, location.
Right, and for a tournament that's non-WCS point granting, it takes a little bit of the wind out of any argument that, it's preferential treatment, sure, but it's also their tournament and they can do what they want. What do you think?
I mean, in that regard,
that's not true.
No?
I think they can do what they want. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like that's not okay, but
If
I think
I can host my tournament and do whatever I want. I can say no black people allowed.
Whoa!
But that argument isn't gonna fly very far. That's not a legitimate.
Oh no. So,
but hang on, there's other. I'd say there's worse things than this as far as invites of who they want. Like the fact that they're making everybody play on EU, I would say is more, worse, I guess, than preferential invites. I mean, forcing all the Koreans to play on EU. I mean, really? I mean.
Well, so I don't mean
like
anything they want. What I meant by that is that if they want to invite a person that is not of the same caliber as the rest of the people who are being invited or qualified, whether it's because she's a popular, she's a hometown hero, that's their prerogative to do so, because it's not that negative, because they're not taking points away from someone.
For this particular thing, I don't think this is even an issue at all. I mean, this has happened plenty of times in the past. Nobody's talked about it. There have been times where, but for me personally, I've been invited to play at a home story cup with flights paid for and shit when I'm not at the level of the other people there. So I mean, this has happened plenty of times in the past with other foreigners being invited. Why do some? There are a lot of people that get invited to Home Story Cup because they add to the atmosphere more so than they're actually really playing well enough to be there. And if you go through the Home Story Cup player roster, you can very easily pick out those names, So I mean, this is stuff that's happened a lot in the past. I don't think that there's anything. What?
With the exception of when those people are asleep at the hotel an entire day, right?
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, this is stuff that's happened plenty in the past, and people are. It's just a reality of how things work. Why do entertainers get more viewers than hardcore players? Why do people get invited even though they're better players that could be invited? I mean, it's just something that's happened for a long time. I don't think it's anything unique or different that's happened here that warrants a second looking at was this right that she got invited?
Yeah.
Do you think that people freaked out more or about the same because she's a girl?
I think it added to it, but I really
it definitely adds to it.
It's more of I think a spotlight effect. If you would take someone like Pengwin getting invited, I'm sure there's somebody out there who would have got riled up about it, but it didn't put the spotlight on him type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the whole girl thing adds everything to it because now there's the whole context of everything that entails that gets brought along with it. So I mean, that's. The fact that she's a girl definitely plays more into it, or it would shape public opinion more of it than if it was just another random foreigner invited. Not saying whether it's right or wrong or whether the opinions would be good or bad, but I mean it does carry a lot more with it, sure.
It does. It does, and what I think it was Jeff's video was talking about. I don't know if you guys saw Jeff's video, but it talked about that Gamergate culture that we're in right now, or climate, where it's a hot button issue. You bring up women in gaming, you're going to invoke a lot of emotion. You're going to invoke a lot of.
Talked a lot with Rotterdam and In Control a lot over the Home Story Cup weekend. We talked a lot about this stuff. And this is something that I brought up on my stream a lot too, where it's you're in this really scary times. You got to be really careful.
Because you could say, and you've brought this up too, you could say something completely logical. You could say something that's, it is a good point for discussion, a good point for a debate. But certain people will take it as if you do not completely agree with them, then you are against them.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know.
So that is why her being a girl does play a little more of a role into it. Because, if they invite Pengwin, he probably wouldn't have gotten the shit.
Let's be honest, I would have probably gotten a bit of
Yeah,
I think you would have for sure.
You would have.
I'm definitely not high enough level to play in.
You would have caught.
I don't think it would have been Reddit worthy. I think it's the difference.
Right. Exactly.
Well, but Madalisk is also really well known, so I don't think people would have been. So for not to sound like a total. This is the meanest thing I've ever said to someone, but if they were to invite you, they'd be like, well, who the fuck is Pengwin? This doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? He's a normal player. I don't give a fuck about Pengwin. But if they were to invite somebody say Winter to play, right? Even though I don't know what rank you are on the ladder. I don't know if you could beat Winter or not. I think he's Masters. Are you? What are you? What rank are you?
Generally when I play a lot, I'm relatively high Masters.
Okay, yeah. So let's just say you could be Winter easily. If they were to invite Winter, people would be oh well, even though it's shitty that he's not that good, I can see why they invited him. He's really famous and popular, and he's got a lot of fan base and whatnot. I think Madalisk is similar there. It's not like Madalisk is just oh, she's a good female player. No, she's actually relatively popular. She's got a decent following. Pretty much everybody in the StarCraft community knows who Madalisk is. She's got her blogs and everything. So,
I mean, there was kickback from Winter being a host of Home Story Cup.
Yeah, there was.
So, I mean, men aren't immune to catching hell from the community for when the community thinks that they don't belong in that place.
I'm fully aware of this.
I get a few comments every time I put a thread up for the show, so yeah, I absolutely understand. But regardless, I think that
should have the Danger Zone or something as the theme song for this part.
Danger Zone.
It's so quiet. I almost just think you're like breathing out heavily, like into.
I
the
guess you guys are
microphone.
just hearing it from my headset. Everyone else is hearing the actual
Oh, okay.
the actual thing. But someone posted a straw poll. Do you hate Quebec? And right now we're at 18 votes for yes, 19 votes for no. I don't know who did this, but they tweeted it. Anyway, so back to this. All right, yeah. So I think the consensus agrees on this, and we can move forth. Let's talk about the incident, and I don't want to talk about what he said necessarily, because we all can agree to some extent, whether we fluctuate a little bit, we can all agree to some extent that it wasn't the best fucking tweet to tweet. And now, I'm saying that
probably take that statement a step farther and say that I don't think everybody here probably think it was a pretty fucking dumb thing to tweet.
Exactly.
I don't think anybody here would disagree with that statement. Right? It was probably pretty fucking dumb to tweet.
Exactly. So I saw that cringe riff. I'm absolutely aligned with what Steven just said.
This was brought up so many times. Like, that's something you say to your buddies you get away with.
Exactly.
Like, you like elbow jab and stuff, but like you don't see that publicly.
And especially with the hashtag of the official hashtag of the event.
See, the tournament thing, like, I don't think even Cass himself is upset he got disqualified. Like, you fucked up. Everyone kind of gets it. I think what's absolutely retarded, though, is, like, even to a lesser extent, the fact that we're talking about it right now, the fact that it's still being blown out of proportion to the extent it is. I mean, are people, like, this whole topic, man, I'm just like, are people this hungry for drama? Do we really need someone to start map hacking or pretend to be a girl GM again? I mean, like, what, like,
so
there needs to be something else.
It doesn't have anything to do with the StarCraft 2 community. Again, it's something that I mentioned earlier. Like, there's a huge the contextualization of this, I think, actually sits far outside the StarCraft community, where there's like a big thing on the internet right now with this kind of I hate to call it feminism, because it's not even really that, right? It's this crazy culture of like absolutely like witch hunting anyone that goes against this new trend of kind of social justice warrioring, and even that terminology might not necessarily fit, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
yeah, no, absolutely. And what right? I'm not trying to
okay, well, before we get into this, I want to clarify two things. Okay, first of all, feminism as a whole, right, as a movement, isn't a bad thing. Okay, pretty much every single person that is going to be on the show ever that you'll ever talk to in your life will agree with like the basic tenets of feminism, right? No one is; those aren't up for debate. Like, should women get like equal pay, or should women be slaves or shit like that, or be allowed to vote? Like, no one disagrees with it, is it bad that typically when we argue about things, we're arguing about the finer points. We're arguing about a lot more nuanced topics. Like, is it okay to like shoot a woman and kick her out of the workplace because she's a woman? No. Should women receive equal pay because of like things like maternity leave and stuff? Like, so you get a lot more nuanced, right? So feminism as a whole isn't like bad, right? So let's just like get that out of the way. No one is saying that feminism is bad and we need to get rid of all of that. No one is arguing that. Don't even waste your time bringing it up, okay? The second thing is, anytime I say social justice warrioring, social justice as like a class, as a set of issues of like negative things that minority people have to deal with or underprivileged classes have to deal with, there are a lot of legitimate concerns to be raised there. So when I say social justice warring, I'm not trying to like disparage every single person that that brings up topics pertaining to minorities or, as I said, underprivileged people or whatever. But the social justice warring that goes on the internet these days has gotten absolutely fucking out of control. Absolutely out of control to an almost comical extent where it's parodying itself, right? We saw it happen a couple of weeks ago with the ESA, where the ESA scientists, because of the fucking shirt or whatever.
Oh my god.
We saw it happen a lot here with this cast stuff, where it got picked up by the fucking Norwegian tabloid. It front paged our news. I think it was the front page of our news, or was it the number one thing on our news? Like,
number one.
Just, yeah, like it's just gotten. It's too much. It's really, really, really fucking stupid, because we're not talking about people actually raping people. We're not talking about people like Cass like sexually molested a girl at an event, or Cass, made a phone call to Madeline saying he was going to break into her and rape her. We're literally talking about like, should we be allowed to use these words? These words that have been always part of gamer culture. Do you think that they're unwelcoming to women? Like, we need to have a discussion about these words. That's what the conversation is. Like, none of this has been worth the reaction that it's gotten. It's been blown so fucking far out of proportion that this is the kind of reaction I would expect if a player like actually raped another player. Like,
right.
That's the major thing that's disappointed
Exactly.
me about all of this. Like that I feel has gotten like way too fucking out of control.
Right, and that's what I wanted to focus on. I don't want to talk about the we've all hashed out the incident. I want to talk about how our community and then how it's spread into other communities and how it's being handled. And I think that's the important dialogue to have, because I can understand that he said a stupid thing and that fucking it was dumb. But what fallout came from it afterwards? I mean, so I posed the question. You can take this one, Rifkin. How do you feel about her response to the situation? As far as... Because I
think she has the right to feel offended. That much is without question. Anytime, like, even if I just say something simple, like innocent, like, oh, you're stupid, like, you have the right to be offended. It's not a nice thing to say. I do think, again, it was blown out of proportion by all parties involved. Like, for Madelisk's sake, the whole social justice warrior, white knights, whatever other people involved aside, I don't think it was necessary for her to write this big blog about it the second afterwards. I mean, like, that almost felt like that was pre-written, like this was planned type thing.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't, no tinfoil hats or anything, but I mean, there's just the response from her, I think, is that was overblown, and it didn't help everything else snowball off of that.
And I don't believe she deserves that. I don't know if she has received any sort of attacks or threats, being the internet and what I've seen a lot of people do. I wouldn't be surprised if some people have said some shitty shit to her over Twitter and whatnot. But I
know a lot of people have blamed her for Cass getting thrown out of the tournament.
Right, which is wrong.
That's wrong, in my opinion.
Well, maybe that's why she published the post, is what I'm saying.
Well, but it did happen really quick.
This is really, unfortunately, a very specific timeline of events would need to be given here, and I've read different timelines. What I've read was that, well, I don't know. I've read different timelines. I mean, like, I could just... Like, I've read one person that said that Cass tweeted, Madelisk and Cass started to play one game, and then Cass deleted his tweet, and then after that, somebody else had brought the tweet to Madelisk's attention after Cass had deleted it, and then, like, Madelisk contacted the Fragbites people, and then they decided to DQ Cass after the matches were played, and then after that, Madelisk made, like, the blog post about it. So, like, the timeline, I guess, is pretty important, too. I feel like... I don't know... I don't know what timeline exists, though, where, like, making that blog post was, like, really necessary. Like, that... Like, going into all of this, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but, like, I had a ton of respect for Madelisk. Like, she... For all intents and purposes, Madelisk is an amazing individual, right? PhD in fucking math. She's fucking shredded as fuck. She does all of her blog and workout stuff. She seems like a really, really, really... Like, I'm not joking. She seems like a really strong, fierce individual. So, to see that blog post come out of her, like, I saw that tweet and, like, I was really scared, but thank you guys for all your support. That seemed so fucking weird that Madelisk, of all people, would have wrote that blog post. Like, I almost couldn't believe it. Like, everybody knew, like, please, everybody knew reading that tweet from Cass exactly what he meant. There's not a fucking shred of doubt in anybody's mind exactly what Cass meant when he wrote the tweet. Oh, I'm about to rape some player in the fucking Fragmites, So, like, to see her post that, I don't know, that was really fucking weird. I don't know if it was ever necessary. I don't know, that's...
Just a small aside, I really think Madelisk could kick Cass's ass in real life. Like,
Go ahead, Gillyweed.
I mean, it's not even relevant. Like, it just seems, I don't know, that seems really strange to me.
Knowing what it means doesn't mean that you still can't be offended by it.
But it's not a matter of being offended. It didn't look like she was offended. Like, the way that it was phrased, it made it sound like she was actually worried. Like, that... Does anybody have a link to the English? I mean, like, we can read it exactly.
I don't right off the top of my head.
If so, yeah, there's an English version. I had seen the Google Translate or whatever.
I mean, even if it's something that, like, you're offended by, like, I don't know. Like I imagine, I hate to use myself as an example because I'm a very thick-skinned individual. But to any two other adults, it would be like you would say to Cass like, "Yo, dog, like that's really fucking offensive. Like, can you not say that?" Or like, "Hey, like that's really shitty. Like, can you not do that?" And then he'd be like, "Okay, fine." Like I'm trying to imagine like me like, okay, somebody tweeted and I go on my blog post and I type this thing up or like he said this thing on the tweet. Like I would never do that unless I was looking for more people to look at on the situation and to try to like, I don't want to say like stir up more shit about it, but like. Why does that need a blog post that like he said something and it offended me? Like that's so weird to me.
Yeah, no. See, that's the thing exactly what he's saying is she said that she felt threatened and fearful, and that's what I took from it as well. That she felt threatened and fearful as if it was going to happen. But I feel that even just a modicum of common sense says that was not the threat that he was making.
Yeah,
and,
like reading this, I don't even know what to say. I was very surprised to say the least. This coming from a pro player is scary. The organizers did what they could. They asked Cass to apologize and talked about it after. Now I'll try to let go of this and focus on my next match verse, sort of, in a few minutes. Like, this doesn't... Like, this reads like this is insanity. Like, what to write that, like, I was so worried that, like, he tweeted that, you know, that trash talk on Twitter, and I'll clear it from my mind so that I get... That's baiting hardcore. I feel like that's a hardcore bait. Like, to write something like that and not know exactly, like, how that would be perceived by the community, like... I don't know. That feels it feels a little bit crazy to me, in my opinion.
So the word rape, for one thing, means something completely different, I think, to women, especially when it's directed at you. Just because of our history, it's horrific, and I don't
the universal history of women always getting raped. What does that even mean?
No, the universal history of rape in the media. It's not a word to be taken lightly, and I maybe she did feel threatened, or at least so offended because the word was up against her that she just wanted to talk it out.
So going off what she said in the blog post, let's give her the benefit of the doubt that a lot of people are giving Cass, and let's say that Cass didn't fully understand the full impact of it. So maybe in Madeline's blog, she didn't understand. She didn't properly express fear. Maybe she used that the wrong way, but I feel that regardless of how she took rape, the word rape, her response felt very dramatic to the situation.
Yeah, like I said, like I would have no problem with like even if Madeline did feel uncomfortable, which whatever. If she did, that's fine. You can't tell people how to feel. But like it just feels like something that could have very easily been cleared up with that. Even if Fragbites did disqualify him ultimately over it, which I'm even still on the fence about. But even if they did, like it's like, hey, like don't do that again. Like that's kind of a dickish thing to do, or that's an asshole-ish thing, or I don't appreciate that, or please don't do that. And it's like, okay, fine, and then you move on. Making the blog post or whatever, especially in this climate right now that's going on all over the internet, it seems like the most obvious flame baiting to me, like that I've ever seen.
So what about taking events? Now let's take away the rape. Let's take away just shitty comment was made. That's how we'll brand this. Let's look at other issues such as the incident with Ruff and Minigun. Now, what about people taking these issues straight to social media? What about the lack of resolution on the back end before going to social media? How do you feel about that? Pengwin is a member of the team, as a leader within your team. If there's an issue going on, how would you want, whether it's with one of your teammates being the offender or without, how would you prefer that to be handled?
When it's like something that's actually like quite serious, like if it's somebody on ladder who's just like saying something that's like actually so fucking dumb that it's funny, that kind of thing, I don't like. Then, like, I've been posting things recently, like Rage of the Day tweets and stuff. So, like, if it's just, like, some random guy being an idiot, I don't really think that's too much of an issue. But, like, if it's something where, like, the person on the receiving end is, like, seriously offended and seriously takes issue with, I feel like it's something that should be brought up initially with the, like, if it's, like, speaking for me as a team perspective kind of person, like, from our perspective, I would like for it to be brought up with our management first before just, like, going and posting it on social media, Like... So, I mean, we have a guy on our team, I won't name names, but some people may know who he is. No, it's not me. We have a guy on our team who is quite BM in, like, high GM sometimes. And, I mean, he's not the kind of guy who, like, wishes cancer on people, but he does say shit, like, every now and then I get a complaint from somebody, and most people are very respectful about that, and they do write me or, like, our other manager, they'll write us rather than going straight to like running to Twitter and going, "Oh, this MII player is the most BM person in the world," kind of thing.
Go ahead, Riff.
What are you gonna say, Riff?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I like that concept, and like, I'm sure some others like, yeah, you just want a chance to cover it up, whatever. But that just comes out like a communication thing, right? And that could kind of be backwards applied to like the whole Medalist cast thing. Like, should her first response, instead of it taking offense, was like, dude, did you really mean that tweet or whatever? I mean, like, communication's a pretty big deal, and I felt like there wasn't any of that in this situation either.
Well,
like,
I don't
even the minigun
like...
and Rough thing, like, that was just pretty much straight to Reddit. There wasn't a lot of like, dude, why did you say that? Did you really mean it? Like,
well, when you're really offended, I think sometimes you're not thinking quite clearly.
Yeah, you're in the heat of the moment. You have the right to be offended. Like I said earlier, like if someone calls you something even just silly, like stupid, you have the right to be offended. I mean, it's just...
to some extent, everybody has the right to be offended, but you have to be really careful these days. I mean, I don't think anybody in here would argue that the public is always the best people to determine the appropriate punishment or reaction to any individual, right? But when you make something social media, that's pretty much what you've done. When you take something to social media, you're essentially saying, here you go public, like I want you guys to decide what the resolution for this issue is going to be. Because by that point, there's nothing that like an individual or a company or whatever could do. At that point, like the public outcry is pretty much going to force the hand of whoever, you know, the major sponsor is, you know? Remember the programmer... there was like a coding convention and there were two guide programmers or whatever, and I don't know if the speech was about GitHub or something. Somebody mentioned something about forking code, and the guy made some silly joke about like, oh, like my big fork for the code or whatever. It was like
he made a dongle joke.
Right?
He called it
or like a dongle, my USB. It was something dumb like that. But the woman turned around, took a picture of them, and then put it on Twitter, and then tweeted it for the entire world. And both of those guys ended up losing their jobs, like.
Big tech job, livelihood.
Yeah, like people with families and everything. So I mean, while I everybody has a right to be offended. When you become a public person and you have this access, not even public people, when you have access to social media, there comes a bit of responsibility with that. I think you have to be a little bit careful because there's a lot of fucking power that you have, you know, with social media. If I told enough people that X player on ladder hacked, that guy would get a really fucked reputation, whether or not he hacked, you know? If I were to just start BMing the fuck out of some people, like, oh, like, this guy always fucking hacks. If I were to say it enough times and enough other big people caught up on it and started tweeting it, like, that player's reputation would be fucked. Not because of, like, any kind of internal communication or actual resolution of an issue, but it would just be fucked because that's what happens in, you know, like, social circles, you know?
Exactly.
And that's actually a really serious issue as well, and I was talking to Kane about this before, and Kane was telling me that, like, back in, like, 2012 or whatever, when he was, like, high GM but had no tournament results, like, he would play Idra a lot on ladder, and Idra would, to his giant viewer base, every time he played would say, oh, this guy's a hacker, this guy's a hacker, this guy's a hacker. So Kane, it took a very long time for Kane to get any real recognition until he actually won Shoutcraft America, and then like the finals of that was offline, and then people were like, oh, okay, maybe he's not a hacker. And like, it's really, it's not like common or anything, but it's not unheard of that people do get their reputation tarnished completely without like actual, like real reason. Just because a popular person doesn't like them and is like publicly spewing shit like, oh, hacker, shit like that. Like, oh, this guy's stream cheating, oh, this guy's obviously hacking. And then like a lot of people are going to believe that. And then a lot of people like, they will tell other people, and then those people will tell people, and then it ends up on Reddit. And
all right, so
and again, I mean, coming back to like what all this is about, like Cass didn't actually rape anybody or sexually assault anybody. Like he made probably a pretty dumb choice in verbiage, right?
Yeah, he made a dumb choice of verbiage.
And now he's on like the front page of like a Norwegian tabloid or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. All right, so I guess with all that is that I think that things could be handled a lot better for all parties involved. Him getting disqualified, hey, perfectly okay with that. Him getting flamed the way he has been, though, put on that newspaper, not so much. Let's look at the Rough situation. We can all agree that what they said to Minigun was shitty. What I believe I understand, I don't know how correct it is, I have no sources to verify it other than just people who talk, is that Rough had been, by members of Root, had been, stream sniped and harassed for quite some time, and this was him taking out his frustration. Whether or not that is true, the fact remains that Minigun took that, made a screenshot, heat of the moment, Minigun going through a lot of shit. I can fully understand that angry moment and posting it to Twitter, because that probably happened in about 30 seconds. So with that...
Sure. To some extent, though, I really don't like the comparison of these situations. What's up, Rifkin?
I just want to interrupt real quick. Gillyweed's been having some connection problems, because I don't want people to think she just left and didn't want to deal with the conversation. we've all been like having audio issues on and off throughout the thing so far. So I imagine she's probably just restarting things real quick or something.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Anyway, I don't like the comparison between these two things. I think these are very, very, very different things. Ruff's insult towards Minigun was a very pointed, direct insult. He knew exactly what he was saying, and he was trying to say the thing that would like hurt Minigun the most. Like that was the point of that comment.
But it was serious.
Yeah.
So
very
what?
Serious. Yeah.
So I'm
But
talking
saying
about
that, like comparing that to like to Cass being an idiot and be like, oh, I'm about to rape this next girl and I'm playing at the front. That's way different.
well,
I
the
don't think these are
comparison is
comparable at all.
the comparison is for how it's handled by the offended party.
By public. Oh.
Whether going
Yeah, I
public
guess.
with it or taking it behind the back, whether
Okay,
you know.
okay. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I'm just making sure that people don't think that the two situations.
Yeah, no, not at all. So yeah, I think that in these situations, I think that's something that esports as a whole should try to do. Is we're not talking about sweeping things under the rug, but take it. If that was your player, Penguin, I'm sure you would have much more appreciated instead of your team in the name of your team, because IVD was attached to Ruff at the time. You would rather your team be able to handle it, punish him. Do I think he would have been removed from the team if it had been, said on the back end? Probably not. I think he would have been, would a punishment even have come to fruition? Possibly not. But things happened the way they did, and I just think that, we can agree that some things should be handled on the back end. You have any thoughts on that, Graham?
I don't know. It's just so much of this, like, I feel isn't even the fault of anyone's we're discussing. Like, even Minigun and Ruff or Cass and Metalisk, like, the problem comes, like, from the second it got posted on Reddit, it was everyone else who made it the problem, not necessarily the players so much. It's really hard for me. Like, I just have such a stark opinion that it's not their fault so much as everyone else's. So it's hard for me to, like, weigh in on that,
I can agree, and I think I saw Zombie Grub in chat say something along that line. And I do think that Reddit played a big part in how much it blew up, but I think another part of it is it's what was said and who was offended, and there's that. So
Wow.
I never actually hear that, so you'll just like stop talking and I'll be really confused.
that's exactly what's going on. So. All right, let us talk about Dang It.
Well, are we gonna try and get Gillyweed back at all? Or
oh yeah, is she back on?
I have no idea. That's why I was asking.
Let me go 1 second. Add to group call. It's all going to be out of order now. Do. So how about them Yankees?
What, real sports?
Oh my God! Have you guys seen this video of running from Shia LaBeouf?
Yes. It is the single greatest thing that I have ever seen. Ever.
Oh man, hold on. We're gonna. I guess
take a break.
Yeah,
Gillyweed
exactly.
back and just play that video.
Exactly. That's what we're gonna do.
I like it.
I'm going to give me 1 second. I gotta find it.
It's such a dumb.
It is so fucking hilarious. Is it not new?
I remember when I
it's
first
not.
heard about Newgrounds. Like it's like.
Yeah, let's go to Funny Jump.
It says October 21st. I didn't know.
Yeah, the like song was written like.
Oh,
a billion years ago.
Gotcha. See, I didn't know fuck. I didn't know we metabolized data so fast that October was a long time ago. But I guess if it's been around a while, so let's put this bad boy up. Shaky diggy. Going to take a break. And while we do that, you guys can enjoy the sweet musings of Rob Cantor. So we'll be right back. I'm gonna put this call on hold.
Them savings for you. For a limited time, purchase mall gift cards for everyone.
You're walking in the woods. There's no one around and your phone is dead. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot him. He's following you, about 30 feet back. He gets down on all fours and breaks into a sprint. He's gaining on you.
Shia LaBeouf.
You're looking for your car, but you're all turned around. He's almost upon you now, and you can see there's blood on his face. My God, there's blood everywhere.
Running for your life from Shia LaBeouf. He's brandishing a knife. It's Shia LaBeouf. Lurking in the shadows. Hollywood superstar Shia LaBeouf. Living in the woods. Shia LaBeouf. Killing for sport. Shia LaBeouf. Eating all the bodies. Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf.
Now it's dark, and you seem to have lost him. But you're hopelessly lost yourself. Stranded with a murderer. You creep silently through the underbrush. Aha! In the distance, a small cottage with a light on. Hope. You move stealthily toward it, but your leg! Ah! It's caught in a bear trap!
Gnawing off your leg.
Quiet, quiet.
Living to the cottage.
Quiet, quiet.
Now you're on the doorstep. Sitting inside. Shia LaBeouf. Sharpening an axe. Shia LaBeouf. But he doesn't hear you enter. Shia LaBeouf. You're sneaking up behind him. Strangling superstar Shia LaBeouf. Fighting for your life with Shia LaBeouf. Wrestling a knife for Shia LaBeouf. Stab it in his kidney. Safe at last from Shia LaBeouf.
You limp into the dark woods, blood oozing from your stump leg. You've beaten Shia LaBeouf.
Wait, he isn't dead. Shy surprise, there's a gun to your head and death in his eyes, but you can do jujitsu. Body slam superstar Shia LaBeouf. Legendary fight with Shia LaBeouf. Normal Tuesday night for Shia LaBeouf. You try to swing an axe at Shia LaBeouf, but blood is draining fast from your stump leg. He's dodging every swipe. He parries to the left. You gather to the right. You catch him in the neck. You're chopping off his head now. Not just decapitated Shia LaBeouf.
His head topples to the floor, expressionless. You fall to your knees and catch your breath. You're finally safe from Shia LaBeouf.
I think that's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen.
Wow.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're just getting set up again.
So at least we've heard from Gillyweed, and she's not totally rip.
Yep. Yeah. So what's the verdict on that?
I guess she's having some internet problems.
Skype isn't working.
Last message is Skype on the phone is the worst. So
turning on laptop. I joined from phone. Add group call. There we go. Penguin. Does Zombie want to come on?
What?
What? Was that directed at me?
No, Zombie Grub.
I just heard Penguin. Does Zombie want to come on?
Yeah, why'd you ask Penguin?
Did I?
Did you ask her, Penguin? What the fuck, dude? Get on this shit.
Oh,
You
did
got her Skype, right?
Did I specifically ask?
Yeah.
It was a complete accident. I apologize.
I don't know. She said she was busy when I asked, so.
Okay. I asked Huck to come on, and he gave me a very firm no. Just no, period. I like that. Straightforward, to the point. Doesn't beat around the bush. Anyway.
Dang it.
Oh, man, you ever like reach for a can you think is full and then it comes up way too quickly? That just happened.
That sounds like an alcoholic problem. You okay, buddy?
It's Pepsi, dude.
Oh.
Just Pepsi.
We're here for you if you need somebody to talk to, Lycan.
You don't mix anything with Pepsi. There's no concern about alcohol in here. Like, Coke was made for alcohol. Wow.
Sure.
Wait, you enjoy like Pepsi and rum?
I don't drink Pepsi. I just don't like. I don't remember Pepsi being that different from Coke, so I imagine it would mix about the same.
No, it doesn't.
I don't really mix Coke with much either, though. I mix Sprite for the most
European
part.
peasant.
I mix Coke with Drano.
I don't know what that is.
That explains a lot about you, actually.
Yeah. You don't know what Drano is?
Nope. Enlighten
Way
me.
to kill yourself.
It's drain cleaner. Like it's acid you pour down your drain to get the hair unclogged.
That sounds really healthy.
Right. I don't know. I actually don't know if you did that. I just remember it from a Third Eye Blind song.
Cool.
Yep.
Good story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
I'm just looking for every reason to push that button. All right, so Gillyweed is having technical issues.
Yeah, sorry about this, guys. Tried to get her during the break, and
Hey, does anyone speak Spanish?
Sí.
Sí, señor.
What does "que es eso" mean?
I think they're saying like, "What's up, dude?" Isn't eso what you say for like a buddy? Isn't that like slang for, right?
I mean, essay?
no, that's what you write.
Oh,
in
maybe I
school.
think of essay. Never mind. I don't know then. Rip. Google translated, dog.
I don't know. Oh, 1 second. It's Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, it means what is that?
Thank you. Man, let me tell you how much I love that PCH StarCraft guy from Reddit. Fucking, he is the nicest, kindest, most friendly dude that gives such constructive feedback. I really appreciate him very much. I enjoy him.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
All right.
You just keep hitting that button, buddy.
Yep. Anyway, well, it doesn't look like we're going to get Gilly back for now. So let's talk about Ding It. Graham, fill us in on the Ding It situation and how this has come into play with the Ascended Star League.
I wouldn't know because I, like everybody else, can't watch it because you got to download a stupid player for it. No, in all seriousness, Ding It is this new streaming platform that's come out. They're trying to be a competitor to Twitch, and I mean, all competition, obviously, welcome, go for it. But they've already done some things. They're just going to make it so difficult to hop on board the Ding It train. To view any stream on their website, you have to download a player. You can't just say, okay, maybe I'll suffer through low quality or something.
Well,
Like,
that's good. Nothing else to talk about then. That's already like annihilating. They already like killed themselves with just that thing. What the fuck?
yes, and I don't know why they're insisting on using it because there's been some very heavy feedback against it. But supposedly the upsides are it takes less bandwidth, it's higher quality. I can't vouch for any of this because I refuse to download it to check it. But Maddle's been running some show matches on it. I think Pengwin's been casting a couple of those, so Pengwin's got more experience on like what viewership looks like for it. Allegedly low. And then recently they, I guess, were sponsoring the Ascended StarCraft League, which may not be the most popular or prominent league, but I made a post on Team Liquid about this. I really think it's silly for them to swap platforms. They've got a fantastic player roster. If you guys haven't seen it, it's actually got some pretty big names in it, Koreans and North Americans alike, Europeans as well. I thought they were getting some pretty nice traction. They were getting some pretty notable numbers. Nothing crazy like 5,000, but, you know, like 1,200, 1,300. I think one night they had a 2K peak. Like, they were growing well on Twitch. And I think whatever money that Ding It is putting into their league is not worth them swapping platforms. I had the experience of swapping to Owned back when Base Trade TV started because we got partnered over there before we got partnered on Twitch. You know, Curse picked us up, for those who don't know. We were part of Curse Gaming for a little bit, and then Owned blew up. And coming back to Twitch, like, we were already so far behind. Building up a fan base again after that was just agonizing and painful, and I regretted it. You know, the couple of bucks we made on Owned was certainly not worth it. So I hope these guys don't get caught in that similar trap. I mean, I wish the best for them because I like what they do, but I just think swapping to Ding It's a mistake, and I don't think Ding It itself is that promising of a platform yet. But they can always make changes.
Gillyweed, can you talk?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey!
Cool. Don't disappear because
She's alive.
I just readjusted the fucking screen regions.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
My
It's all good.
internet just, well, the call started getting really choppy, and I thought maybe at first it was like in the middle of Destiny talking, and so I thought maybe it was his, but then I realized that everyone's cams were choppy, and then I lost internet.
It's all good.
It wasn't just you. I was getting some of that too. It usually just has to do with the fact that Lycan sucks at hosting.
You know, there are
Rifkin.
enough people bring that to my attention. But thank you, Graham. It actually means something coming from you.
I love you, dude.
I know. So yeah, dang it. So I have not used it. So what is it? Just a desktop application that you have to download?
No, it's like Twitch, but you have to download the player, basically. As far as I can tell. Penguin's got way more experience than me, by the way. I'm talking out of what I've read.
Okay.
Penguin's actually experienced it firsthand. So
Penguin, tell me about Ding It.
About the actual player, I have no idea. I casted a show match. I didn't download the player. I haven't downloaded the player.
Did you broadcast it? Were you the one that broadcast it?
No, Maddles was broadcasting it, and he's the one who's really been pushing the whole Ding It thing. He's been picked up by, he's like their senior esports correspondent or something. I don't know what his title is, but he's basically the guy who's in charge of like promoting it and stuff. And I mean, I feel like the biggest issue is like we've kind of discussed before, like this, like needing a plugin. That's such a huge issue, and like I mean, on the one hand, like maybe the guys running it think to themselves like, oh, that's like such a small issue, like it's so easy to do, but it's just so like it takes time, it takes effort, it looks really fishy considering that there are websites that don't require that, and it really cuts into viewership a lot. Like the show match that I did with them was Soxry versus First, which was maybe the best show match that I've actually ever casted, games-wise. Like, the games were absolutely awesome. All of them. Like, it went to Game 7, it was on the Dream Pool, there were some really cool builds every single game, like, something weird happened, and we peaked at, like, 90 viewers.
So, what is the Ding It site? I've been trying to look it up, and it doesn't even come up for Google.
It's
Ding It, but it's got an exclamation mark instead of an I.
But the URL is just dingit with an I, DINGIT.tv.
Got it. Okay. So.
And, yeah.
Do we know?
I think some context for this too. Like, had Metals run that same show match on Twitch, that would have easily been like probably front paged, even 5,000 viewers, I guess, ballpark. I mean, like that's the contrast of how drastic it is swapping to the new platform. I mean, they're putting the money up from what I understand. Like, they're saying, here, Metals, here's some money, run some show matches with it, because they had approached me about this as well. And you know, he's trying to make the best of what he can, but it's like, man, that just viewership drop is insane.
Well, so here's the thing: is you got to wonder, because I don't know how they're doing on subscribers. I haven't talked about the business end with Saber, but on the back end of things, they were trying to do a crowdfunding for I think $3,500. That crowdfund is still going on to run the tournament, to add some big things to what they're doing. And from watching the back end of them, you know, while Saber can be shrewd at times, they're all very dedicated, very smart, you know, very, like, you read when you are involved in any production with ASL, like, their fucking documents read like Blizzard handed it out. It's pretty crazy. So with that, I understand their you know, drive to get money, to grow, to make bigger things, and I wonder how much Ding It is actually handing them to compensate for A, the lost viewership, B, the lost subscribers, for this to be worth it. And I can't imagine, you know, what that could be.
I would imagine on the short term, the money that they're getting from Ding It is probably significantly more than the subscribers. Just because, as far as I've been able to tell, their number of subscribers is not particularly high. Like, it's not bad, but it's not, like, insanely high. It's not like Ding It can't match that. But I agree that in the long run, I think this is a big, big mistake for them, because they're not going to grow their viewer base at all.
What do you think, Destiny?
In regards to how much money they're getting? Or
Yeah, how much money they're getting and what this is going to do for them in the long run.
Well, nobody knows how much money they're getting. That was part of the problem.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
like, it could be the whole prize pool.
Probably, yeah, I'm sure it's some number in, like, probably less than 10,000, probably more than 1,000. Yeah. It's some number that makes it desirable for them to take the short-term loss in subscribers and Twitch revenue in order to do this platform. So, I mean, in terms of whether or not it's a good or bad decision, I mean, if you get enough money out of it early on, you use that money to grow your business in the future, it can be an okay decision. If you just squander the money, you don't do anything, then you're going to end up in a situation like what Rifkin said, where you just go back to Twitch, and then you're just behind compared to what you would be if you would have stayed on it the entire time. If you take the money and the Ding It site or whatever ends up panning out, then, I mean, that would be like the best of every world, because then you'd have a head start there, but I don't know how likely that is.
Yeah. I think there's really not much else we could say. You know, we can ponder about what's going to happen in the long run, and I think that I wouldn't feel comfortable with leaving Twitch. You know, if I was able to maintain 2K views on Twitch each week.
I mean, just as an example here too, like look at all the guys who like left for like MLG or whatever, right? Like everybody came back for that too, and that was like the most promising thing out there. High CPMs, and you got MLG advertising it as well. Like all those guys pretty much came back. I think it's like the COD guys are the only ones to stay there, right? Like, so it's kind of like, if something as successful and promising as that couldn't work out, like I don't have high hopes for something like Dang It, this newcomer who's not established, who's trying to grow. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in it, personally.
Exactly, and it's Twitch is so established. Twitch has the network, the bells and whistles, and people know Twitch. It's easy to find out how to do things on Twitch. There's resources to Google and all that other crap. And I think Twitch is a good product. You're going to find something wrong with everything, but until someone comes along and is like, we have this, and it is, it's fucking sweet baby Jesus good. You're not going to get people to switch over in droves, and people come here. That front page drives traffic for a lot of events. So
the problem is, I don't know if there will ever be a competitor. Actually, I can say this pretty confidently. There will never be a competitor to Twitch that comes out of nowhere. The infrastructure requirements are just far, 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 far too great. It would be like a competing like car manufacturer coming out of nowhere. Like there's a term you learn. Like an economy of scale, right? Where things become cheaper as you become larger. There's no way that you can deliver a stream to anybody around the world without having a significant investment in infrastructure. And there's no way a significant investment in infrastructure doesn't make sense unless you don't already have like the viewer base there, Twitch got to grow up and expand their infrastructure as the viewer base grew along with them. No one else is about to dump as much money because it would take an ungodly amount of money to catch up to Twitch in terms of what their CDN is capable of delivering, right? In order to deliver good streams all around the world, in order to do that costs a fuck ton of money. And you'd have to start that up on a site with no viewer base for a long fucking time until it catches up to Twitch. Like I don't see that happening ever. Without some kind of gimmick being involved. Like when you talk about these Ding It guys, I can understand the desire for their player, right? I'm sure their player accomplishes a couple things. I'm sure it blocks ad block, so if you're viewing it through their player, you probably can't ad block, so that helps them recoup some money there. I wonder the player probably does some bullshit where it encodes it a second time, like on your end before it goes through, and then it decodes it on the client side so that they can conserve bandwidth by sending a more compressed stream. Like people try to find ways to shortcut it, but in terms of like a true competitor to Twitch just popping up out of nowhere, I think it has to be somebody else. It has to be somebody with that massive CDN already established. It has to be somebody like YouTube or something,
Well, even then, look at YouTube. You got people like Philip DeFranco. They're not streaming live on YouTube. They've come to Twitch. Like, I mean,
yeah.
And YouTube's probably like, if there was one thing in the world that would compete with Twitch, it would probably be YouTube. And even then, the folks over there are still trying Twitch instead. So it's so hard to. I like the idea, and it would be so cool if this worked, right? Like, competition is a good thing. It's not like everyone's like, oh, hail our Twitch overlords, but it's not. No.
Yeah. So I have very low hopes for any significant competition popping up to Twitch. I don't think it'll happen. But that's just my...
Yep. Sorry, I was adding Alex.
Wow.
If he answers this time. Pengwin.
Hello.
Hi. Have you ever been approached by any streaming service outside of Twitch to move your team over there?
Dang it! Not kidding. Yeah, I mean, Maddles and I are, like, we were quite good friends, and we've known each other for quite a while through WCS and all that jazz. So, I mean, when he got the job at Dang It, he came to me first and just kind of said, yeah, I mean, this is this new cool streaming service, and he tried to sell it to me. I think he has some really cool thoughts about it. I'm just gonna see if I can find exactly what he described about it that was the sort of unique draw to it that made it better than Twitch, so to speak. Trying to find it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to say. Like, what selling points was it that he used?
One of the things that I remember offhand that he was saying is that basically for some reason, due to some technology, something, I don't know anything about that, so I can't vouch for how reliable this is, but some technology or other, meant that it was a lot cheaper for them to encode the data and send it out, so they had more money to give to partners and stuff like that, which, again, I don't understand any of that, so I don't know how realistic that sounds. But overall, like, I from the beginning, I've just been thinking, I don't know how we're going to be able to make up for the lack of viewership, you know, because I don't think that there's going to be particularly high viewership there at all, just because it's not established at all, and like the plugin just is another reason for people to not want to watch it.
The other thing too is, like, let's not forget, like, Azubu, right? I mean, again, another platform that looked promising at first, but even the folks over there, like Mini Razor, was so quick to come back to Twitch the second he stopped being forced to stream over there, right? I mean, I just feel like even if you shove money down people's throats, like I imagine what's happening. I mean, I don't know the details of this. I'm not saying one thing or the other, but I'm saying, like, let's assume he was getting paid for part of his team, maybe a small bonus to stream on Azubu or whatever. Like, even then, he was still quick to come back to Twitch. So it's like there's so many things, these other streaming platforms. You can't just buy fans, is kind of what I think a lot of it comes down to. And that's what's going to drive your platform at the end of the day. Like,
and at
even
the end of
if
the day,
Destiny were to swap. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you're a self-employed person, like, your money, the amount of money that you can make and the options that you have in this industry are pretty much directly correlated to your fan base, right? The more fans you have, the more shit you can do. The ad revenue that you get from a particular site is only a very small percentage of your income, and your fan base just augments everything else you're capable to do. Like, say, for example, say I make $2,000 a month streaming on Twitch, and then somebody offers me to stream on their platform, like, hey, I really want to stream and I really want you to come over here and support and promote my platform. I'm like, okay, well, how much are you going to pay me? And it's like, well, you'll make like $500 a month off of ads, which is only a fourth of what you make on Twitch, but I'll pay you an extra $2,000 a month so that you can stay up with that Twitch income, and you'll be making plus more. So I mean, like, on the server, it's like, I mean, okay, well, I mean, I'll be getting more money, so that'll be good. But what happens is you end up losing out on so many fans that you lose money in ways you can't even imagine. Like, you might not get invited to custom event because you're not as popular, so you miss out on money there. Any promotions that you do with sponsors or affiliate links or things that rely on some kind of metric to track how many people watch your shit, you know, you're going to miss out on money there. There are just so many, maybe you don't get, there are just so many opportunities that you can miss out on by not growing your fan base, that oftentimes it's beneficial to take a pay cut or to take less money to expose yourself to new fans, right? Like, anytime I go to Home Story Cup, that's an event where I don't make any money from doing it. Like, Take has never paid me to cast. He covers my travel, but I lose money there. I could be, quote unquote, I could be streaming and I could be making money getting subscribers. But by going there, I get access to the entire Home Story Cup fan base. So that's 30,000, 40,000 people that maybe don't watch me very often, that I have the opportunity to win over as a fan, which is way more important than just, shipping money over to me, because this is long-time potential income that I'm looking at, right?
Yeah. I mean, and the thing I was going to say, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you there, was, like, even with the way you've got your thing set up, like, everyone goes through your website most of the time and not through Twitch to watch you. Like, even if you swapped to Ding It and did it all through your website, so it's the same old for a majority of people, like, I still think you lose so many viewers doing that. I mean, even if you're someone, whether a person like Destiny or like someone building up from nothing.
Viewers. Yeah, because there are people that go to Twitch to look for people to watch. Yeah, for sure.
It just, I don't know, there's whenever someone actually does, if someone ever actually does make a proper competitor to Twitch, like, they're going to have to solve that dilemma, I think, before worrying about trying to buy people off. Or
the dilemma,
whatever.
The dilemma is that buying talent doesn't work. You have to you've got to get the fans there first. That's why I feel like it has to be some kind of pre-existing thing, or you literally have to buy all the fucking talent, right? That's how Owned was able to be so big in the beginning, is Owned was probably the most successful almost competitor, because they bought all the big names. League of Legends was Owned.tv, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people might not remember that, but League of Legends was always an Owned thing. League of Legends got huge on Owned way before it ever came to Twitch. I was the largest streamer on Twitch for like a year and a half or whatever. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. I was literally the biggest streamer on Twitch, while the League of Legends guys were growing on Owned, because Owned bought them up first. I mean, it worked for them and they had a lot of viewers as a result, but unfortunately their financial department, I guess, couldn't keep up with the growth, and they ended up investing way too much money in the infrastructure that they were growing, and ended up going bankrupt.
So I just had someone, I'm not going to add him to the call, he doesn't want his name to be known, but he's from Team Liquid, and he's saying that that Team Liquid's not. Yeah, they're considering not allowing Ding It events on Streamlist or the calendar, and that one of their guys that I will not name either, but he works back end for IT there. He has some reservations regarding the file you have to install in the company itself.
Why would your name? We all know who it is.
Yeah, there's only one guy
mind.
smart enough to handle it.
Yeah,
All this nameless stuff aside, I've heard the same stuff, like that they're possibly. Sure. I kind of feel like that's the only revenue source, or not revenue, sorry, I guess advertisement source they really have towards StarCraft. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, we got sick players playing," because like no one's gonna remember that. Everyone goes to the Team Liquid calendar. Everyone checks Reddit. You know, like no one marks on their calendar like, "Oh boy, I can't wait for Pengwin to cast first Soxery. That's my Wednesday." Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I feel really fucking dumb because I didn't know who Rich was.
Whoa, no, don't say his name, dude. What?
Oh my god, what the fuck, mate?
No one had figured that out yet.
No one knew it, and now you just fucking blew the shit. There goes your contacts.
Yeah, no one talking like
it's not. Whoa, hold on. He's not the fucking dude who told me. He told me. No, I swear to Christ, Rich is not the one who told me. I don't know Rich. That's why I just said that wouldn't even make sense. I just said I have no idea who Rich is until you guys just said that.
Protests too much.
Anyway.
Fuck. Anyway, I haven't blown anyone's cover. I'm just saying I didn't know who Rich was, and apparently everyone else knows Rich does the back end for TL. So whatever. Anyway.
In fairness, like I can understand you not knowing who Rich was. Like, unless you're like super involved, if you're just a fan, you don't know who Rich was. He is a sort of behind the scenes guy.
So Rich did not tell me anything at all. Just want to make that clear. The sound bites, if this gets cut up or anything. Anyway, either way. So, Azubu.
Are they dead yet, or is it still?
No.
Azubu is still a thing.
They lost all their big League of Legends teams, didn't they?
Yeah, they did have a deal with Kespa, right? That they were going to do all the League of Legends guys, or at least they got like 10 of them, some like big names that were restricted to Azubu.
I actually, I got a question.
I got a stream with 150 viewers on it right now.
Hang on, before we get too far into this part, actually, I got a very genuine question here. Gillyweed.
Yeah.
Wait, you're still here, right? Okay, good. I know you're not nearly as ingrained into this sort of stuff as like Destiny or Pengwin or myself or Say would be. So I'm curious more of like on your outside perspective. Like, what do you think of the whole fan base viewership, etc. for streaming platforms, whether it's Azubu, YouTube, Ding It, Twitch, whatever?
I think I'm definitely on Destiny's side, where I just don't think that it's going to be possible for anybody to be able to compete with Twitch. People go to Twitch first and then look up the game a lot of times to see who's playing and what streams to watch. So how would you do that, with Ding It? You wouldn't see what's on Twitch, obviously. So I don't know. I think it'd be cool if there were some competing ones, but I think that it would have to be, I don't know, a big company,
like Amazon
for sure.
Video or YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube for sure, since it's not. It's
Amazon could be a
who picked
competitor.
yeah. I think it'd be cool if some of these big companies would do that, but I don't know if it's fiscally even something that they are interested in pursuing at this point. So I'm cool with Twitch. I'm happy with it, streaming wise, and I think it'd be cool to see some competition. But if not, at least Twitch seems, in my opinion, genuinely like, wanting to work with people and work with streams and get better.
Now, as growing your stream, how do you like doing it on Twitch?
I don't know. It's so small. It's been good. There have been quite a few Twitch people who have been very open and honest about how to grow it and how to work toward getting it partnered, which I think is really cool that they employ such awesome people. The RG is one person who's been very supportive of me. So I think that's cool. I like that when it's listed, by games, then it's possible that mine could show up, and especially with our Heroes of the Storm show that's on Misclicks, they've worked with us to put it front page. So I feel I feel
That's
really
no
happy
fun.
and with how that's going as well.
Now you follow the other what's it called, the other Heroes of the Storm stream, the Town Hall show, and they do it on MLG, right?
No, they used to.
Oh,
That's
did
what
they?
I was
Yeah,
saying,
it's on
like
Twitch.
everyone's come back from MLG.
Okay, see, I thought they were still on MLG because I know it doesn't. What's his name? Still work for MLG?
Sham 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he still does.
And
but-
I don't think he was obligated to go there, but I figured that he was, jumping over there thinking, I assume they thought, get there while it's early and build up quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I started watching it, it was already on Twitch.
Okay.
And I don't know what the reasoning was for moving it back, but I mean, he is one of 4 hosts. They've got 4, 3?
Yep. I think it's 4.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, I mean, could have been a group decision as well to stay with Twitch.
And Rifkin, did you say you had been on the Curse platform? Is that what you said?
Oh no, it was owned back in the day. We got partnered with Curse, so I mean, Curse was a major driving force for a lot of owned related things back then.
Okay, so now when you went from them to Twitch, where you are now, what was it like? Did you have to regrow your brand? Was there a huge drop off in viewership?
Right. So I'm not sure. I think this was when Pengwin was still casting with us back then. Fun fact for those who don't know Pengwin, part of the original Base Trade crew. I think we were kind of sitting around 100, 200 viewers back in the day before we swapped to owned, and we're like, we're not making anything off this. They won't even partner us. Let's try owned out. Owned partners us, same amount of viewers ish, but we were making a couple of bucks. And when I say couple, I mean really tens of dollars here, not a lot. And when we came back, I was kind of expecting okay, well, if we went from Twitch to owned with 200 into 200, we come back right where we were, but that wasn't the case. I think our first Zotac cast after coming back was barely 40 viewers, if that. It was the super dedicated folk, Part 2 and whatnot, that have been sticking around, but we had lost so much viewership. I mean, that's weird to consider now, because 200 viewers is nothing, right? I mean, compared to what would be 5,000 or 7,000, but I still remember these events very clearly, and the worst part was it was a really slow climb just to get back to that 200 viewer concurrency before we even got anything further than that. So it really sucks swapping platforms a lot. That's because we were growing at the time too. We weren't already big. It wasn't an established name or anything like that.
Right. Okay. All right. Let us go to DreamHack winner.
I wish.
Well, yes. Let's all go. All right, Pengwin, you gonna go?
Swiss National TV, SRF, which is the biggest national TV thing,
Uh-huh.
has been doing a bit of coverage on us. They sent a dude to the house for 2 days, and he did a lot of filming here for about 8 hours each day. And basically, we're gonna kind of have this big sort of feature on Swiss National TV, and he's coming with us to DreamHack Winter. So we're actually, Kane is gonna come along just to hang out, just to sort of add to more of a team feel at DreamHack Winter as well. And I'm gonna go as well. I was gonna go anyway, but so it'll be an extra little bonus there. And all 3 of our non-Rain and Baloo, all 3 of our currently in Korea Koreans are going to be playing, so really hoping that they can do well.
Yeah. Kane's just going to Mac on Swedish chicks.
Basically.
I'm pretty sure that's 90% of the
true.
reason he's going to be there. Yeah.
We all know it's true.
Yeah, I mean, DreamHack has a lot more than just StarCraft and League of Legends. There are plenty of different people for him to hang out with. It's a little ominous for hitting on a woman, but that sound works. So I think the games are going to be incredible. I don't think there's a question about that. What about the feel of the tournament? Destiny, with Robert Olin being gone, how does that? Is there any different feel? Do you think there's any concern? Do you think it's just going to be business as usual? No one's really going to notice or really care.
I mean, I think maybe I'm just an asshole. I never liked the Robert guy that much.
No.
I don't know. Every time he came on Unfiltered to talk, he would just get drunk and then make a lot of funny one-liners, and then that was it. So I mean, I'd never seen anything that made me feel really strongly attached to him as a person. I don't know how integral he was to the day-to-day operations of DreamHack, or how important he was to the actual tournament itself. So I'm not sure if anything will be affected there. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, I mean, he won't be there to hand over the champagne.
Yeah, I guess at the end.
Well, because I think he was the advocate of it. Are they actually going to get rid of that now? That's a big question.
I hope not.
Fucking DreamHack. That's a big part of it, man.
Yeah.
They can't.
Rip esports if they do. StarCraft, dead game without champagne, man.
Yeah.
I do think that situation was pretty fucking gross, though. Whether you love or hate the guy, that was kind of messed up the way it went down. But I think
it's hard to say, though. It's really hard to say. I have no fucking idea. Like, it could have been... That could have been anywhere from a fucking horrible situation to a really... Maybe there was a really good situation. Like, it could have been from, like, Robert got backstabbed and everybody, including his father, fucked over his whole life and they stole DreamHack from him and they kicked him out. Or maybe Robert was fucking crazy and he was driving the company into the ground and they needed new leadership but he wouldn't listen to anyone. You know, It's like, it's impossible to say without, like, some serious, like, internal, like, review or journalism or some crazy good article posting the details of everything that went down. So I try to reserve my opinion.
Yeah, we haven't really heard anything from anybody on the other side at all. So I find it hard to really know for sure what the situation's like.
I just know that I really didn't like all the cover-up shit DreamHack was posting. Like, it was really bad.
Their PR was horrible. Like
nothing bad has happened. Everything is as usual. Don't mind us. Like,
there was no real answer from them in their press release. It was just.
I mean, that makes sense. It's a press release, really. It's.
Yeah, sure. The job is to deflect, but there's a lot of people kind of looking at the company thinking, I mean, they provide a great service. I don't see people suddenly losing faith and stopping watching the show, but still, in esports you feel pretty close. Like the NFL does something fucked up. I like the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm not gonna, lose my shit and right off the Baltimore Ravens if the NFL does something fucked up. But I feel that in esports, the smaller events or the smaller business models, I don't know. It's I feel a little more connected to the problems.
I think one of the things, though, is it's DreamHack Winter. It's the finale of the year. You can't really fuck that up or change it dynamically at this point. Like, it's one of those situations where you could probably let your grandma handle things. Like, it's gonna handle itself for the most part. I think the biggest change we'll see to DreamHack is going to come next year, like when it starts fresh and brand new. Like, if something was going to change, or if they were going to cut back StarCraft or cut back something else, or impose some weird limitations, like that's where it would happen. Not here, not winter, not the end of the year, not for everybody that's come to it.
Right. I think, let's talk champagne. They can't take the champagne away. But what I've always wanted them to do is I've always wanted them to fucking give someone a saber to open the champagne. It's not hard. It doesn't require any fucking skill. All you do is you stick the head of the champagne bottle in ice for about 10 minutes, and you pull it out, and you take a sword, and you just slide it right across the edge.
I'm pretty sure somebody would die.
Nothing about that sounds safe.
Somebody would die.
That sounds horrible.
It is.
You're a pro gamer. Have a sword that you've probably never used before in your life. There's a glass object in front of you. There's no protection for anybody. Like, that just...
No, it doesn't sound safe. But I always wanted to see it. It would be so badass. Tasia, because Tasia's going to win DreamHack Winter. It's going to happen. He's even playing. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, he is playing. Of course he's playing.
A sword like an Arabian Knight, or do you see him kind of like wobbling it around like a child with a T-ball for the first time?
All right, so
You'd probably try to clap with it and then like.
Yeah, he'd probably try to clap with it and then just cut off his right arm or his right hand. Like then what? Then we don't have a Tasia anymore.
In my mind, when I picture Tasia, I picture the Tasia I picture behind the keyboard. When you see the Terran dominance being hate and discontent spread across the battlefield, and I just see this strong and focused Tasia. That is who I imagine swiping the top off a fucking champagne bottle.
You're not thinking of the same Tasia that we're thinking of.
You're thinking of the idea of Tasia.
Yeah.
So the idea of the
In-game
bottle, I
Tasia.
guess, isn't that bad, but it's not gonna go. There's no way that ever happens.
I know that when I win DreamHack, I will I'll cut the top off the champagne
It's just like
bottle.
when Zomberg and I have balanced discussions during a cast. Like, it's absurd ideas that are never going to happen, but they're fun to think about.
Yeah, it is fun to think about. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good showing nonetheless. Do you have any favorites to win, Graham?
Not really. I do find that, like, you'll get some upsets in DreamHack, which is really nice, so you never really want to put your bets on too early, but I got to be honest with you, at the end of the year, it's all the best players. I mean, it's going to be kind of like last year. There's not going to be a bad game no matter where you look at it. So that's what I'm most happy about. Because I really hate, especially the community cast, you're like, okay, we had a quick 2-0, and now we're sitting here for 40 minutes waiting for the next round to start. Like,
yeah. Steven, what's funny?
I had a cough.
Bullshit.
There's
Alex.
a fucking you. This isn't related at all. You've seen the fucking copy pasta of the fucking Uniden guy, right?
Oh yeah, the jackdaw thing.
Listen, here's the thing. All right, you said that a crow was a jackdaw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody just posted a variation that made me laugh. All right, I'm sorry. I'm done. Go ahead, carry on. DreamHack winner.
Yep.
Great event.
Alex, you there?
What up, Doc?
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
How you been?
Chilling. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Late.
Yeah.
You're in the late game of the episode. Like we're nearing the end.
Let me borrow.
But I'm glad to have you here. There, now your pretty face is up on the screen.
Okay, so since we are in the late game, does anyone have the money to remax?
What?
Yeah, man, I'm part of my insanity. Of course I do.
Oh yeah, Remax tomorrow. Please check it out. 1600 Eastern Time. Good show. Good show.
Oh, 1600. Are you Europe now?
What? No.
Are you
it's
at Europe?
Military time.
Are you at Europe, like a Grove?
Holy shit.
But all right, let's jump back a topic because I just wanted to ask, do you have any thoughts on that, Alex? On the business end of Ding It? Are you familiar with what's going on with that?
I mean, I think it makes sense. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of stream websites kind of pop up. Because obviously there's more out there, more business, more market for further than just the gaming stuff, right? Like, that should be interesting to see how that goes, but it makes a lot of sense. Twitch it's freaking $1 billion. A bunch of people are going to see that, and they're going to try to start stuff of their own and try to compete and whatnot. So it makes a lot of sense.
I think competition is good, and we could definitely get some good services out of that. I think it's just going to be the one, you got to get that one that's going to blow them out of the water before we're actually going to see many people go over to it.
Yep, I agree. Competition's cool, you know?
Fucking capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, DreamHack. Alex, you've been following. You see who's playing. Do you have any favorites to win?
DreamHack
winner. I'll give you that. You can look it over. I'm going to post the link in the chat. Pengwin.
Yeah.
I feel you have some biases, but go ahead.
Well, this is great because DreamHack Winter always features a double elimination bracket, which is fantastic because that means we actually have like a set top 3. We don't have like 2 guys sharing 3rd, 4th place, which is great because that sets it up to be perfect to just have a My Insanity top 3 without the 3rd place person sharing it with somebody else, you know? So obviously Stardust, Sox3, and Jockey are going to top 3 the tournament.
Yeah.
That's not true? Wow. Have faith. Stardust says it's not true. Realistically, though, if I'm going to be a little more honest, I think Stardust is playing quite well recently. He lost 3-0 to MMA in Fragbite, which is kind of sad, but MMA just came 2nd place in WCS Global Finals. I think that's fine. Like, it's not so weird. Stardust says he doesn't want Terran, which is nice, because you only have 4GG in your group. Then you have MC, Patience, and Solar. What do you think? Easy? He says one of the easiest groups. But you don't have a foreigner. But there's 2 foreigners and you don't have one.
It's okay, but I'm very bad.
He says he's very bad, so. But he says it's one of the easiest groups, and he said no Terrans, and he only has 1. So okay, I think Stardust will advance. I think Sox3's group is interesting. I think he'll advance too. Liquid Hero is in there. I'm interested to see how he does because based on recent form, he should get absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
Like. Not like very unceremoniously. I'm feeling like 1-8 map score.
Damn.
So
he has 3 Korean Zergs, and he just recently got eliminated by Rhett from the last stream hack. Go ahead, Axel.
Sorry, I do have to run, but I'll give you some brief thoughts on DreamHack. Is JC there, by the way?
Yeah, hey.
JC, hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Why don't you say hi to me? Dang it, JC.
I didn't want to interrupt.
I don't think I said hi to anyone. Steven, how you doing?
What's up, baby girl?
I see you've been having such a positive influence on the scene lately.
Oh, we're gonna get to the.
Is that a bit of sarcasm?
Maybe. It's whatever you want it to be, Steven.
Okay. Please.
Are we gonna get into? I mean, have y'all talked about that yet? A part of me thought that's what it was gonna be about when I came on. I'll let that.
Heck. I'm sorry. Fuck. All right, Alex.
I'll give my DreamHack predictions and then I'll get out of y'all's way. But I think
Axeltoss, how those boot camp videos going, man?
Boot camp? You'll see. You shall see.
Like sometime or ever?
Soon trademark.
Soon TM. Soon TM.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Your predictions, sir.
Okay, so I feel like Snoot would be a really cool story in Group D. One of the only Europeans in the tournament, so that could be cool. I feel like Stardust has been consistently playing good games, so I think that should be good too. I feel like Jadong would be an interesting story out of Group B, and I feel like Life Tasia-ish. So I think the whole thing, I feel like the best chance is probably Tasia or Life, in my personal opinion. But I would love to see Snoot make a big run.
Okay.
My opinion.
Did Jadong win today against Iagaz? I think he did, but he came close. If Iagaz had been a little more ballsy, he could have 2-1 Jadong out of that group today. I can't remember what the tournament is, the Kung Fu Cup or something like that.
Another thing to note, I don't know about that, but I know that Jadong apparently just 2-1 Hyun in ASL, so that also bodes quite well because Hyun is also playing very, very good ZVZ at the moment.
Good.
That is actually really impressive. Yeah, Hyun's always been pretty good with ZVZ. Roach King and all that, right?
Go good. Well, yeah, I agree that I think Jadong would definitely be a good story. You know, he's been in a slump, so really anytime he comes up to play, I want to see him do well. Someone made a hype video for him before BlizzCon, and it was pretty sad. It was showing like all the second places and then his decline, and it had that Moby song like "Don't Let Me Do This Again" or something like that. I don't remember, but it was a little gut wrenching, and so I'd like to see him do well. But Rifkin, did I already ask you who you think?
Yeah, I gave you kind of general answer. I'm still just going to go with my fanboy MMA.
Bye, Alex.
Bye, Alex.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. And yes, look out to CS training camp. I think there's a huge space for people who need education in StarCraft 2. I think that's a big part that's missing in the scene. That's how we get the League of Legends people in, the Dota 2 people, and all those people. And I've been talking about that for a long time. So I'm really excited that you guys are excited to see this.
Wow.
So see you guys.
See ya.
Woo.
Bye.
Boop.
Anywho, yeah, I was just going to say, I always root for MMA. Anytime MMA is in a tournament, whether he's got good odds or not, I'm just a big MMA fan, so.
Okay. Gilly, do you have anyone that you want to make out of this?
Oh, well, I would love if Hero just all of a sudden out of nowhere surprised us all. But I definitely think Life and Tasia would be pretty awesome, or most likely MMA as well. Yeah. Polt would be really cool too. I know that we mentioned Snoot, but I always like to cheer for Polt as well.
Yeah, I would like to see Polt do well. I can't remember the last time I saw a good run from him. Graham, can you think of anything?
Sorry, what? I was trolling chat a little bit. What?
Right. Polt, like the last really big result from Polt.
I think Polt tends to be a fan favorite more than like a result favorite. A lot of the time. I'm trying
His
to
last
think
big result on paper was he won Red Bull Detroit. He came third place in Red Bull Washington and top 4 at WCS America Season 3.
Yeah, he's not a bad player.
No,
like,
not at all.
He's had a lot of top finishes in the last 6 months. Yeah.
I look at his group though. I mean, look at Polt's historic like TVT, right? I don't know how Joxy's playing right now. I know Snoot and Impact. Like, there's just so much scary
pretty badly,
things.
if we're totally honest.
Yeah, there's just so many scary things in that group for him specifically. Like, if that was a group of, like, Protoss versus Terra, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling pretty good for Polt getting far in this tournament, right? But
So, what do you guys feel about top placing? I had this discussion with Hotbid before about what it means, where it's that significant. You know, what is fourth place compared to, what's top 4 compared to top 8 at a tournament? So, do you think that those places, up, unless you're, first... Do you think that anything before that, it really matters as far as,
Dude, Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last.
I mean...
I feel like, looking at Premier tournaments for anybody, I feel like top 8 at any Premier tournament is just, like, impressive. Like, when we set... we don't set, like, specific goals for our players for tournaments. Like, we don't be like, oh, you have to achieve this minimum goal or whatever. But, like, generally, I always feel like you can't... If you are a team that likes to do something like that, I feel like it's not fair to expect anything... above top 8 because like there's a lot of bracket luck involved, and I feel like getting top 8 at any event is like, if you can consistently get top 8 at a ton of events, that speaks volumes for how good you are as a player. And I mean, just going back to Pold quickly, because I have his Wikipedia page open, like, he's not getting consistent top 8 finishes. He's getting consistent top 4 finishes. Like, 5 top 4 finishes since July.
Now, Jaedong was doing that for a while still, wasn't he? Even, after BlizzCon last year, wasn't he still getting up there 8 top 4?
Yeah, like, he continued to be in really, really good form until about halfway through this year. I mean, he won the WEC thing against Snoot. I don't really like to consider that a huge win because there wasn't really that many players. But, like, his last really... I mean, he got a top 8 at DreamHack Stockholm and, like, Homestory Cup, but I feel like his last sort of, like, big top 4 finish, I am Shenzhen, which is July, I think. So he really has dropped off a lot recently, but he's sort of shown a bit of a resurgence in coming top 8 at Homestory, and like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, 2-1 in Hyun just now in ASL also bodes very, very well for him, considering that in his group he does have 2 other Zergs.
Okay. Steven, you have anyone on this?
Nope, I haven't followed shit at all. I've just been playing a lot. Right.
There we go. Hey, that's
but dude, you gotta do your homework for Destiny 2. You gotta know who to invite, right? Like,
thank you.
I'm probably gonna do all of it. Or probably gonna be qualified. Actually, fuck that shit.
Well, Rifkin, thank you.
Spend 10 minutes on Wikipedia.
Thank you for the segue. Let's end of that topic. I think that's becoming dual purpose. That's coming end of topic and awkward moment, and probably any other reason I feel to hit that button. I'll have to find a new button eventually. Destiny. Let's talk Destiny 2. The hype is real. We're all excited. So, you want to walk us through your thought process, where you're at right now, what you're thinking?
Well, I just wrote a bunch of things down on the flight over, and then I'll look at it again in a couple months and reevaluate.
How do you feel about your handwriting?
Listen, man, my handwriting is beautiful, okay? I use a lot of colored pens.
Absolutely.
I was surprised it wasn't calligraphy, to be honest. Somebody had to point that out and said it was just normal writing.
Fuck off, fuck you. I think for this year, I'm probably going to focus on just 2 regions. It's just going to be NA and EU. Trying to time juggle all 3 regions is a fucking nightmare. The days are starting way too early for North America. I was starting at like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. or something for North America, and we were ending at like 4 or 5 a.m. for Korea. Juggling all 3 time zones is just way too difficult. With 2 time zones, I can narrow it down much more. Europe can start a little bit later. NA can start a lot later. It'll be a lot easier to manage the time zones. So I'm looking forward to that. For qualifying people in, I'm actually getting really attached to this idea of qualifying in the top 8 from NA and then the top 8 from EU, because then it kind of sort of mirrors what's going to be happening with the WCS region thing. I don't think I'm going to do any invites though, since I'm not looking at any Korean players this time. I'll probably just have everybody qualifying in via both ladders. I'm going to be a really big dick about the win trading now, too. If I even think somebody's win trading, I'm just going to instantly disqualify them and their entire team. I'm not even going to fuck around with it. If I see somebody that's got like 5 wins in a row, and they're all like 2 or 3 minute games against somebody else, I'm just going to insta-DQ their entire team. I'm not even going to... Because there was a lot of fucking shit that was going on last time with different Smurfs that were win trading, and I'm like 99.999% sure like who it was, because only like 2 people in NA could have possibly had that record on that Smurf, so... yeah, I'm going to be like really strict with that shit. But yeah, it should be fun.
I guess I'm not qualifying.
You can do it. You gotta admit.
Dude, you beat Nightend. I believe in you. Just train with future EPS champion Mini Razor. He'll teach you all the tricks.
This X shit is fucking hilarious. the fancy, like... it's making it nice. Anyway, so Destiny is sounding exciting. You, now, you're talking about qualifying the top 8, like top 8 GM...
Yep, top 8 GM from each ladder will be...
How many are you taking total?
16 probably again.
Okay, so it would just be ladder qualifier then?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, that's easy. You don't have to run a qualifier tournament or anything like that.
Yep, and the easiest thing is I don't have to fucking run around and contact every fucking team manager and figure out, oh, what tournaments are going on, how's your schedule look, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to figure that... I'm hoping that the top 8 in each ladder are probably people that want to play in the tournament. I imagine those people are going to be grinding the ladder really hard to get qualified in. I would hope so. So
are you
the prize pool is going to be bumped up to like I think 8,000 was the figure I was looking at. So
I think, yeah, that's actually something we're talking about here as far as players prioritizing things. I mean, that's a lot of money on the line. Like if you have a tournament for like $100 like a weekly, people couldn't give a fuck about that. Like, yo, you'd rather hide your belts for WCS or something. Yeah, but like, man, with that much money in the line, there is going to be that priority players are going to have to make. Like, is it worth giving up this? Is it like fuck?
Yeah,
if it's
that's actually
$8,000,
really
you wake
nice.
up at 7 a.m. Like you're going to do that. That's a lot of money.
And people,
Yeah, and that's nice too. That if there's enough money in the prize pool, then I also it sounds like a mean thing to say, but it makes other people worry about their scheduling more than it makes me worry about mine. I don't have to worry about some random fucking Taiwanese tournament or some bullshit like knocking people out of my players. They have to worry about scheduling their shit so that they don't lose players to my fucking master race superior.
And that's going to be awesome
tournament,
because
right?
Total Biscuit generated so much hype, and you know everyone was just so happy with the ladder, the state of the ladder. A lot of people were streaming with the what was that tournament that he did last year, end of last year?
Shoutcraft.
Yeah, that was awesome. So I look forward to when this kicks off. Now, are you going to region lock it to you must be a European resident, or you must live in Europe or North America to do it?
People need visas, Destiny.
No, I think I'm just going to. I think it's going to be just straight ladder qualifier.
So
if
Korean
Koreans
could
want to play to get on. I mean, I think that's good because it means that I'm going to be playing a lot. I want to be competitive in Legacy of the Void, so I'm going to be playing this game a fuck ton over the next few months. So like if I'm going to be laddering a lot and then I start my tournament or whatever, and because of my tournament, I get to ladder every single day against like top 50 Korean GMs that are trying to qualify. Like that's really fucking good, right? It's good experience for me. It's good experience for everybody else on the NA and EU ladder that those Koreans will be playing. So yeah, I would definitely take anybody that could qualify in. It's better for everybody for those Koreans to be grinding games on the EU and NA ladder for sure.
Are you planning to do any sort of server priorities then? Is like, let's say a bunch of Koreans do make it through. Are you going to force them all on NA versus EU like Fragbite does, or is it just whatever the middle ground is?
It'll depend on. I'll have to make that decision later. I might rotate servers like one on, one off. I don't know if I would ever make anybody from KR play on EU ever. They might just have them both play on NA. It would just depend, you know?
I think you should host all the games on the Chinese server.
Oh yeah.
The one that nobody knows how to log on to unless you do like magic to your computer, like.
Oh man, Gilly, how do you feel about? Did you watch much of Destiny 1?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch very much of it.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
These haters, man.
So I mean, so with that, I guess. Oh well, now I have a question to ask. I'm sorry.
I got a question. I'd asked Destiny about this actually after his last tournament a little bit. I know you had put in your notes about not wanting to run ads or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand not spamming ads, obviously, that makes a lot of sense, but I'm just curious on your thought process on playing no ads, because I do feel like that's a lot of lost potential revenue. It might not be thousands of dollars, but it's still lost money, right?
Sure. It might come out to be thousands of dollars, actually, especially because the viewership was so good. This is like a really off kind of thing, but like when I have things that I have like prepared work for, this is one of the reasons why I can't do actual YouTube videos and put together shit like that, because like I really like things to have like a very unique feel to them, like if it's going to be prepared. And in terms of like how the Destiny 1 tournament went, I felt like, I want to say that I felt like walking away from that. There was like, it was a very specific thing. The art was all something that had never been seen before. It wasn't just like the generic Hydralisk in the background with like the StarCraft background or like a battlecruiser or something like. All of the art was very slick. It was very minimalist. It had its own branding. All of the music was very original. It was all original, and it wasn't just like the electro, like house, trance, whatever music that you hear on all. Yeah, sure, yeah. Like everything about the tournament, I felt like had a very unique feel. I really liked that. It felt very strong to me, and it felt like something that I could walk away from and have a very distinct image of what that was in my mind. When you talk about things like advertisements, the idea of an advertisement is during an intermission where I'm playing unique music that I like that's been submitted by fans based off of work that I've done. When I'm running commercials there, the only people I'm punishing are the people that really like to support the event. And like those people get hurt the worst because when they miss out on the music, they've got to look at some ugly ad that interferes with the flow of the tournament, and the other images that you might otherwise be seeing. Like, I don't know, like it's just one of those things in my head where like I would like to imagine that this is something where like you could like be in a really nice like home theater on a fucking red velvet couch or some shit, and then you turn it on, you put it on full screen, you just kind of leave it there, and it looks really nice, and everything looks nice and sounds nice and is beautiful, and I don't have to risk any third-party advertisements kind of muddying or mushing up the presentation that I'm trying to put on. Right? Does that make sense? That sounds like really elitist. I'm not sure.
It actually makes a lot of sense. My question then would be though, like, let's say you go through the funding for this, and you're scraping together. Like, let's say, in the worst case scenario, let's hope it doesn't happen, you barely meet the prize pool requirements for the tournament or something. And you don't have that, because I know that part of the reason you're able to afford to do this is you set aside money for yourself ahead of time. But let's say you can't for whatever reason. Let's say maybe it's not as much as you thought. Like, would you then consider scheduling in blocks for ads? And I just want to, add to this too. Like, I'm not trying to push Destiny to running ads, guys. It's just for someone like me who actually relies heavily on ads, I'm just curious on his thoughts on not running them as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, this is the 100% real talk. When I do a tournament like this, there's a certain dollar amount that I'm looking to take away from it for it to be worth my time. I don't need to do tournaments in the StarCraft 2 community to keep myself afloat. It's not something that I'm doing for relevancy. But I mean, it helps me. I like it. I enjoy it. And I like the money too. But if it ever came down to a funding issue, it's like, I'm really scraping by, I'm really struggling. I think I would just not do it then. I would just be like, fuck it. And then I would just continue on with my streaming and casting and doing other stuff like that. If it literally came down to like, you can fund this event only if you run ads, but if you can't run ads, then you can't do the event. I mean, honestly, that would be a really tough decision that I would have to make.
So I'm not even thinking like ads between like every game, but like, you see popular streamers that are like, say, Man versus Game, right? He runs like one ad an hour type thing. Like, that's more what I was thinking for something like this.
Yeah, but it's my baby. I'm really protective. I like the overall.
No, that's fine. Like, you want it to look really nice. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Like, I like the overall image and the presentation of not having any advertisements whatsoever. If I would be more willing to do 3 minutes of ads an hour than just one ad, because if I'm gonna do any advertisements whatsoever, then I might as well just pull and say like, all right, guys, like during this intermission, I'm just gonna run the 3 minutes of ads between games, then we're gonna hop on to the next set. I would do that rather than just say like just one commercial.
Okay.
And that's just how I would look at it. But again, I'm in a really privileged spot where the crowdfunding is very easy for me, or at least it was for the last one. Plus, I have sponsorships on top of that. Plus, I have the other, my other revenue streams. Anybody that clicks those affiliate links or visits my website or the YouTube monetization that I get afterwards, which does have advertising enabled. So, like, I have all of these different revenue streams open that makes the Twitch ad revenue a lot easier for me to let go. So, whereas I don't know, like, what your specific revenue model is, but like where you look at the Twitch ad revenue as potentially like a significant part of your income, like this month on Twitch ads, I think I've made like $400, right? Which is half of my mortgage payment. The money that I make off of Twitch advertisements is such a small amount that I don't even figure it into anything that I do. If that helps to make it more, or if that helps to understand like my positioning better, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Button press, I guess. I don't know.
There we go.
Can't wait for life
in doubt.
Well, no, Destiny drives himself. I don't even need to. I mean, not that I do a good job at moderating anything, but Destiny goes, he goes, and it's perfect. So, I can't think. Pengwin, what do you think of Destiny 2 coming up?
He doesn't even know he's already on the EU ladder trying to get this fucking GM.
Yeah, that's why I haven't really been talking. I'm win trading at the moment, but don't tell Destiny.
Okay.
I think I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I watched a lot of Destiny 1. It was a really good tournament. Kane did really, really well, which was pretty cool. I hope we have some MYI representation, because I like to have MYI representation in as many tournaments as possible.
Are any of you guys up there?
Will. Well, Winter's in our academy, and he's like rank 13 on EU at the moment.
Okay.
Like, he's pushing. If Cyril wanted to
qualify,
gonna
get a new name, or?
No, well, he changed his name to Autumn, but he didn't tell our management, so they ordered him a shirt with Winter on the back. So now he has to change it back to Winter.
Nice.
So, this guy. So Winter is not Winter.
To go buy a new like jersey.
I'm just gonna call him Felix. So Felix, he's doing really well right now. I mean, I don't think he's good enough to be top 8, but especially like a little bit into the season. But he's up there. I think Cyril could definitely qualify if he played as much, basically through all of his free time. Kane should qualify fairly easily on the NA ladder if there's not too many Koreans playing there.
Is he coming back anytime soon? Is he going to be over here?
Yeah. He's leaving. He's flying from DreamHack Winter back to Canada.
Okay.
And then he'll be in North America for several months because he wants to spend some time at home. Because he's been here, then Taiwan, then here again. So he hasn't really had much time in Canada for about a year.
Damn.
So yeah. I'm really excited. It was a really well-run tournament last time. I hope we have some representation. I hope somebody from MYI wins the tournament, and yeah.
Kane just messaged me. What festival was going on?
Oh, there's an onion festival thing in Bern this morning. It's called the Zwiebelmarkt, and basically it's a thing every year. There's a thing, and like it's our team house is in a small village that's outside of the capital city, like 20 minutes away. So in the capital city, there's this thing every year, where in the morning at like 4 in the morning until like the rest of the day, there's like this big onion market. Where basically before work at like 6 in the morning, so we did this. At like 6 a.m., you just go in and you just start drinking like mulled wine and like getting in confetti fights with people.
Huh.
It was very fun.
And
where do the onions come in?
The idea is that it's an onion market where you can buy onions, but we just threw confetti at people.
Wait,
And,
so,
I bought this hammer and I was going around hitting people on the head with this hammer. It was really fun.
wait, so is it like onion dishes? Like the food is the most
No,
important?
like just like actual onions.
So no one's cooking the onions?
Well, you can buy like onion food as well, but like the idea is like I think it's like some centuries ago they had too many onions, so they sold the onions, and now that's a yearly thing.
That was the worst excuse for a holiday that I've ever heard.
Right? But the thing is, like, people go in, they drink a shit ton of wine, and then go to work drunk, which is apparently a thing.
With sacks of onions.
That sounds like our boss, he's studying at university right now. We met up with a bunch of his classmates, and, like, they weren't drunk, but, like, a few of them went in quite tipsy to school.
Okay. You guys have read the Shrek stories, right? It's all ogre now, laddie. All right, Steven. All right, you can stop copying and pasting it.
What?
Do you have a winter StarCraft story? Or do you have some winter stories?
Chad's been begging that we ask you, and I've been trying not to give in, but
Who's been
because I
begging?
don't know if this is good or a bad thing.
I imagine they're good in good spirit. I mean, fuck, I'll probably do some stupid stuff.
I was gonna sell those stories for subscriptions on my site, so I don't know if I should.
Oh, okay. Well, can
I
you give
just
like
want
a
McDonald's
teaser?
story part, dude.
What?
Can you give a teaser story?
Well, there aren't like good stories as much. We didn't. Can somebody tell me how old he actually is? Is he actually 16 or is he actually 21? Or does anybody know?
I thought he was an adult.
All right, I'll tell him later on my stream. Okay, these are. I don't even remember how much I talked about him. Did I ever talk about? I don't even have any stories. I don't remember. Well, I think I already said everything I had to say about him. I don't think there's anything. Did I talk about the 3 tenets of Winterdom?
No.
Did I talk about this to anyone?
No.
Like, I think what is like? I'm pretty sure he's like 20. I'm just trying to think.
If I didn't, hold on, let me. Or yeah, I'm not
Chad
sure how old
saying
he
he's
is.
21.
Chad's
he
saying
really?
21.
Yeah.
He's a
Although
small,
I've also
like
seen 12.
he's a small guy with a small frame, so I mean it's kind of hard to look at him and be like, man, that guy's totally like huge adult. Like,
What's that? Where's the button at?
I'm just eating chips, waiting for a story. What are the 3 tenets of Winterdom?
I feel bad because I don't know how young he is. I need to know his real age. I don't even want to talk about this. Is
Old
bad.
enough
He's
for you
like
to
a
tell the
nice.
stories.
I don't want to like be mean to him or whatever. He was like a moderately nice.
I assumed these were nice stories. I didn't think they were going to be, shit stories. I just thought it was like...
confirmed Mean Girl, Jesus.
No, Destiny
Yeah,
confirmed...
This is like some Mean Girl shit. Like we're opening the book, about to write our mean.
No.
comic.
This is...
Is your beard full of winter secrets? Is that what it is?
Good guy Destiny. Seriously, I just thought it was like funny stories, like the McDonald's story,
No, there's no other funny stories like that. Basically, fuck
No,
it,
you can't
whatever.
do that. Like, you gotta tell it. You can't.
All right,
please.
there's not even that funny. It's not even good stories, man. Basically, me, Roddy, and In Control. Who was with the original group? It was me, Tempo. The original group of people that got picked up from the Air Corps. It was me, Tempo, and Winter. Along that drive, I realized a few things about Winter, and then I talked about this later on with In Control and Rotterdam, and we established 3 tenets of Winterdom. The first tenet... I feel this is some Mean Girl shit. I can't do it. I can't do the Mean Girl shit. I feel bad.
Oh my god.
I feel like I'm talking about somebody like negatively behind their back. No, people do it to me all the time. Whatever. Okay. There are like 3 things that he'll talk about. If you like start him, it's like a wind up. Like you just wind him up and then he'll just go on for it. The first thing was about money. Anytime you bring up money, he'll always talk about like how much money he makes. Like he really, really enjoys talking about that, and it's like really awkward. Like it felt really awkward. Like we would be in the middle. Like there was a time where me and In Control were on the casting couch, and we mentioned something about how like, man, Twitch ad revenue sucks lately, and he brings up his like ad revenue page to show us how much money he made. But like shit like this would just happen like on and off throughout the weekend, and it was just like really awkward. You just like bring up, he's like, oh yeah, like I made X amount of money. It's like, okay, I don't know, just it was just really funny. That was the first tenet of Winterdom. The second tenet of Winterdom was that he was quote unquote 21 years old and ready to drink alcohol in Europe. I thought this was a tenet. I thought that he was actually like 18 or something, and he wasn't old enough to legally drink, because he kept on saying anytime anybody brought up alcohol ever, he was like, oh yeah, I'm 21 now and I can't wait to drink. Literally anytime anybody brought up beer or alcohol in any like context ever, like he would always think something like, oh, I'm 21, haha, I can drink now. And he would always do it, and it was like, okay, I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it was just...
At Anaheim, he was doing a lot of that wink, wink, nudge, nudge stuff.
Yeah,
too,
yeah. And then the third one is incredibly. I don't even think it's like, the third one is that he has a girlfriend. That's all I'll say, and that she's very open-minded, and that and that he has a girlfriend. He'll talk about that a lot.
I got to meet her at Toronto, so he does actually have a girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I didn't think he didn't, but
Oh, I don't know. I was just saying, like, for anyone who's doubting, like.
Yeah, it just seemed like anytime like me, Roddy, or Jeff would like bring up like one thing, like we would like, this is some mean girl shit. This is like that part in The Office where Jim is listing off all of the pranks that he's done to Dwight, and then he realizes at the end that like maybe I've taken it too far and I'm really an asshole. I'm starting to feel like that right now. But there was a lot of times where like me and Jeff and like Roddy would like say one thing and then look at each other to see if it had worked, and then when it would just take off along that topic, and we would just be like, and it would just be like really yeah, that's all I got. There you go. That was my Mean Girls moment for the day. Fuck all of you.
It wasn't that bad. I mean,
okay.
Well, I
feel
mean, like
bad.
everyone's got those. Like fucking, I
Sure.
think you and Protoss is another good example of like someone else.
So dirty.
I think that Winter's he's an okay dude. Like he's a cool guy. He didn't do anything like really mean or really evil or like anything like, God, I fucking hate him or whatever. Even if other people disagreed, I think for the most part he was a pretty cool dude. So I mean, yeah, that's what.
There
I got.
you go. See, nothing that bad.
There we go.
Everyone's got their quirks.
Everyone's
Yeah, I mean, like I met Winter at Toronto, hung out with him with Tempo. I mean, it was like the three of us sitting next to each other in the crowd the whole time. He's not a bad guy. He's really not. But he's right. He does have some things he likes to go off on.
I think we all do. Penguin, what do you like to go off on?
Mutalisks being really good, Terran being really overpowered.
Oh, fuck you.
Even though, like, when I'm actually not playing, like, when I'm streaming, and, like, I'll lose to a lot of Terrans and get really mad. But, like, Terran's not that bad, but fuck Terran.
Mid-game Terran has gotten, like, crazy fucking stupid, I think. Between the Medivacs and the fucking Hellbats and the fucking Mines. Holy shit!
Holy
And
shit.
the fucking Hellbat Marine pushes.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It feels good to be the one that can have the upper hand in the early game. Fuck your lings.
Mid-game, oh my god. But when you get to the late game, I still feel bad playing my Terran, though, because when you get to the late game, it's, like, complete lulls. Like, you just right-click banelings, blow everything up, kill him with Muta, laugh at him. You can, like, DM him while you're microing your shit.
Okay, like, there's that, I agree, but, like, just since we're talking about actual StarCraft 2 stuff, I watched the most disgusting Nerdshio games versus Yoda this past weekend for Zotac, where, like, dude, he was playing against Yoda and winning with Lings and Banelings. Not a single fucking Mutalisk. Like, just mono-battling it up. So, I mean, like, everyone's got their weaknesses and strengths over
A lot of people have been, if you've watched some pro players, a lot of Zergs are doing that, like pushing the Spire back later and later and later and later to hold off some of the these earlier pressures and pushes, because either the mutas don't come early enough, or if they're doing like that, that one Medivac drop with the Hellbats, having like 6 mutas doesn't fucking help. Like you'd rather have, like 30 more Lings with some Banelings to help as well. Or like 30, or like the quicker 1-1 upgrades and all the Lings and the Banelings actually give you way more map presence and the ability to deny the Terran third than the previous map controller, the Mutalisk, was able to do, right? Because 11 Mutalisks just aren't scary anymore, whereas, 30 Lings and Banelings on the ground with 1-1 upgrades really early is kind of scary, So I understand why people have been pushing the Spire off more and more, or even foregoing it completely sometimes.
Oh, I've seen all sorts. Yeah, I think actually, speaking of just that Mutalisk number, there was an instance where versus Bio and early pushes that can be disgusting, but Mutas versus Mech is so fucking disgusting good. For as much as everyone hates Mech right now, I think 2 instances I saw recently, Bly caught someone just barely making Thors. So with 10 Mutas, he kills like 3 Thors and prevents turrets.
Like, Mutas can be really good against Mech if the Terran doesn't see it coming, but let's be fucking honest here. You put like 2 Thors and like 1 fucking PDD, and all the Mutas are dead.
Right, but this is what I'm saying. Like, anything can be good in StarCraft. So as much as it's easy to say, like, PDD, those Terran pushes. Yeah,
PDDs affect Mutas. So that's why like people go like mass fucking Raven late game. You have like Thor, Raven, BC, whatever.
Good. I didn't think the PDD affected like. Wait, does it affect Stalker shots?
Yeah, it affects all projectiles.
Anything projectile.
I thought that it only affected like the unseen, like the instant hits, like the roaches or the hides.
It's the other way around. It only does the projectiles.
But Penguin, okay, so to bring up your point though, go about Morrow versus Ghost User. I don't know if anyone saw that infamous game. Ghost User Morrow, it's a stupid mech split map, mined out everything on Overgrowth.
Won that game.
I know, but the point is that you saw how strong the Mutas were. You're saying like, okay, 2 Thors on a point defense drone, but I mean, that was a situation where Mutas, like, for those who don't know, Ghost User got rid of everything and went like 100 Mutas, or 95 Mutas.
Then that's like he has 100 fucking Mutas. Like, you die that army,
this is like the basic
of
StarCraft 2 debate, where it's like, yes, there's always a counter to something. It's just, it matters, like, what people are, like, willing to do, I guess. Like, are you willing to even play Roaches in the early game versus the Hellbats, or does it have to be Banelings, or this, that, the other? I mean, balance talk aside, that's kind of what I love about StarCraft 2, to be honest with everybody. Like, the fact that there is always something else, regardless of how OP everything is right now.
Okay, so I have a question. You guys can tell me to go fuck myself if I'm far too off on this train of thought. But, alright, so you're playing versus Mech Zerg, right? How many Mutalisks are you going to want to have? And to what extent is it too hard to magic box their Thors? So, like, let's say they have 4 Thors.
Magic box is worthless if they're playing correct mech. If they've got a lot of Vikings or Ravens, magic box is gonna help you. This is how it goes, okay? This is the Destiny approach to using Mutas. Okay, so you're going Mutaling Bane, you're on 3 bases, you got your like first flock of 12 Mutas, Terran's not moving out, oh fuck cool, you're spreading creep, you don't really scout him because you're being lazy as fuck, you're streaming, you're looking at Reddit, and then all of a sudden, you send a link to see what's going on, and he's got 12 Hellbats sitting outside his base and like 2 Thors, like, oh shit, there's no fucking units there. So at that point, your goal is to get about 30 Mutas, and then like 400 Banelings, right? Does anybody else do this? And then you wait until they move out with the big Thor ball, and then you crash all the fucking Banelings into the Thors.
That sounds so much fun.
And then you beat them, and then you hopefully have enough Mutas left to clean up the Viking. This works. I'm not lying. If you actually get to if you get to the mid and late game against Terran on an even or a little bit ahead footing, you can win with mass Banelings and Mutas. It's pretty stupid, but
well, the other way to play, the more common way to play Muta versus Mech, like in standard, is you want to go into Muta Swarm Host, where you have 16 Swarm Hosts, and then you have the rest of your supply just kind of in Mutas. I like to have about 15 or so Banelings on creep and like a couple extra queens, just in case they come in and like try to like run over you with a bunch of Hellbats and like scan the Swarm Hosts. But and then from there, once they switch into air, you then need to switch into like mass fucking static defense, Vipers, like a few Mutas, but mostly Corruptors then. And I mean, Mutas become obsolete in the super late game unless they're going very heavy ground and you can remax on a shit ton of them.
I would say fuck Mutas and just get like 30 Vipers and just start yanking shit and eating them with like Hydras and Queens, but I don't know. Fuck. Honest to God, I really do think, like, the only balance statement I would ever make on StarCraft 2, I think you can undeniably say that late game Terran Mech with Mass Raven, I do think that's broken. That's broken as all fucking hell.
But is it really
insanely broken? Like, needs to be like patched. If more competitive Terran players were to move towards that, it's worse than what the Swarm Host Cancer used to be like. It's worse than that.
But how hard is it to get to that?
Honestly, it depends on the map. Some of them are very easy to get to. Like Overgrowth, you can get there really fucking easily.
So how much do you need to... Alright, so how do you open up in the meet? That's a style that I don't play. I've never tried to go down that.
It's hard to say because there are no good Terrans that do this. It's like only like Avilo, who has like 30 APM, and like I think like 2 other Terrans. Like Goody, I think, kind of does it. Yeah. And then like there's like one other dude. Like I would be interested to see like a really good Terran do that, because siege tanks and planetary fortresses, they have huge fucking range, the tanks do, and they're insanely cost efficient when it comes to defending bases. So like dropping like 4 or 5 siege tanks behind a planetary fortress, you need an army, you need a legion to break that down. You're not doing any run-bys, you're not going to be able to just do like an 8 roach hit squad. Those things are going to get fucking murdered. No amount of splitting is going to help you against that shit. So I mean, like, it's not, I don't think it's that difficult to get to, and once the Terran hits like this certain point, it almost feels like ZVP now, where like in ZVP, like if I've got like 15 queens and like 18 swarm hosts and then like 8 vipers, I don't, like, if I've got 100 supply and the Protoss has 200 supply, like, I can kind of like bullshit around until I like max out, right? Like, that's a really fucking strong army, and it feels like Terran is a similar way, where once they get to a certain point where they've got like that ball of like Raven Viking and like enough tanks on the ground to not die, at that point it feels like they become untouchable. Like, to trade armies, you're trading like 150 supply for like maybe a couple siege tanks if you're lucky and they were late putting down their PDDs.
I don't know though. I feel
so
like
then my question is, why do Goody and Avillo not have 100% ZVT win rates then,
Because
Destiny?
they're fucking terrible
I
players.
like...
They're really, really, really bad. They don't do that style because it's good. They do that style because it's the only style they can do, in my opinion.
But I feel like, actually, if you're talking about super late game, like, the reason we don't see a lot of better players do that is because if the Zerg plays 100% perfectly, the Zerg will win every time. Because you sit behind Swarm Host and Static Defense with a bunch of Vipers, and there's really, if you miscontrol once, you die. Like, that's why a lot of players, like, don't, like, feel like Terran is unbeatable, because it's very, very difficult to play, like, a 2-hour game without miscontrolling. But if you're playing it perfectly, like, yanking all the shit into the Vipers, not losing too much to the Thors, it becomes really, really difficult for the Terran to actually break the Zerg with all those Swarm Hosts and Static Defense. Like, in the super late game, if you go up to, like, you go from the 16 mid-game Swarm Hosts, if they are focusing on a lot of tanks, you go up to, like, 25, 30 Swarm Hosts, then add in tons of Static Defense, add in Vipers, and just cut out the
problem is that at
corruptors
30 Swarm Hosts, that's fucking, you have no army. 30 Swarm Hosts is 90 supply, and then 60 workers on top of that, 150 supply. You've got 50 supply to work with. If you made 25 Corruptors, no Queens, no Vipers, you're maxed out on army.
Yeah,
that's a
but you
crazy
don't need
number
that,
of Swarm
That's
Hosts.
the thing. Like,
guys,
if you have, like, if you mine out your bases, and then in the late game, just turn the drones that you don't need into the Spore Crawlers, and then you don't really need that many Corruptors, because you're relying on the Static Defense to be taking out the units, so you don't need as many Corruptors. You don't go around actively looking for pickoffs. You just kind of sit there and wait for them to move into you, because eventually they're going to have to, and then that's when you get the pickoffs.
If we can be honest, though, I mean, when you're at that stage of the game, that's an hour in, whatever, right? Like, that's usually, it's not composition that costs people the games, it's mistakes, like, that you can make any other point in the game, too. Like,
yeah, but the problem
you might
is
have the
that
impossible
playing...
siege tank wall, but if they move the swarm host elsewhere and you re-siege, but just kidding, they stayed there the whole time, I mean, like, that's usually where we see those games fuck up, not because someone had X swarm host versus Y siege tanks.
Yeah, but the problem is, and then this is, it's going to start to sound a little balance whiny, but it's very hard for Terran to fuck up at that point. Like, what you just talked about, oh, they moved the Storm Host, but not really. Terran is essentially playing with map pack at that point. They have unlimited scans because they don't have to meal things, because they're not replenishing an army, because their army never dies, for the most part. If the army dies once, they probably lose the game, right? But it would require tremendous fuck up for that to happen. So there should never be a point where, like, oh god, he moved the Storm Host and I missed it, because the Terran is almost perpetually scanning the army, and they always have that Viking Raven ball sitting there, so it's really hard to even bring in, like, a Viper to yank anything, because the Viking auto attack range is, I think it's 9, which is the exact same as the Viking Yank range. I'm pretty sure it's the same range. I don't know if it's 9 or 11. I don't know what the range, but I'm almost positive it's the exact same range, because anytime you go into pull with a Viper, it'll always die to a Viking as well. So I mean, it's really hard for the Terran to fuck up. And also in terms of like positioning, like planetary fortresses don't move. Siege tanks don't have to be microed because there's no overkill on siege tanks. You know, 20 siege tanks will never just shoot at one thing and waste their damage. Only one will fire. There's a lot of things that make it really advantageous for Terran to play out to that late game, I think.
I agree.
I would pay money. I would love to see like a $150 show match where you get like a really good Zerg, like somebody like fucking Life or Solky or some shit, versus like Flash, and then tell them that they have to play, and tell the Terran like, yo, you have to fucking play this style. I just want to see it happen. To see like a best of 5 or best of 7 with Terran playing that style, I think would be really interesting.
I'd actually really like that, because you do have a couple of Korean Kespa Terrans that do rely on very, very heavy mech play. You've got Gumiho, who's now on Seed, or actually he's on Invasion now.
Man, I have firsthand watched Gumiho play mech versus Life versus Rogue, like, and
he is so sick versus Zerg right now, like it's insane.
It is, but the thing is, like, it's never like, okay, again, it's kind of, I don't want to derail this into more balanced, talk about units themselves, but it's not like the Raven itself or the tank itself that wins Gumio those games. It's the fact that he does play everything out. You'll see players like, okay, we joked earlier, dropping the name like Goody or Villo, like, okay, they play more tank and they don't really go to that air style, but Goody takes it to that very late game. He'll take it to Gumio will take it to every aspect of Terran possible. We'll see him still doing Hellion run-bys at like 20 minutes into the game with battle cruisers defending his third or things like this.
So hold on. What players would you want to see if we were to do that?
In a perfect world, like, I would like to just see 3 sets of people go at it, and like any sort of matchup between the following players. I'd love to see Reality. I'd love to see Mio.
Good, yeah.
And I would love to see Flash playing mech, because he does sometimes, and he plays a more aggressive style of mech, which I think is really, really interesting, and it's a bit of a counterpoint to what the other ones play. Then on the Zerg side, Soulkeys played some really good versus mech games. He had a sick game against Reality, which is the 2-hour game that ended in a draw in Pro League. That was on Star Station a while ago. Life, I would like to see, like, Life versus Gumiho already happened, but I'd like to see Life play against that, and then just like another super sick Zerg. There's a lot of them you can pick from. Maybe Sue, like top form Sue.
So one of the
I would real fast just on that, something that I would like to careful to point out. The late game Terran mech with the Raven Viking ball, I think that's like an entirely different thing than just normal Terran mech. I don't think normal Terran mech is imbalanced. Like Terran mech, like the 3 base pushes and the 2 base pushes into 3 base and into all of that. I don't think that's imbalanced at all. You can deal with that. Because it involves a Terran moving out to attack, they have to move into unfavorable positions compared to just sitting at their base. Like that's definitely manageable, and it's way different than playing just the perpetual Terran turtle into 3-hour game. Just to clarify. Right. Sorry. Somebody was like?
Oh no. So where I was going with that was that one of the things I wanted to do with the late game was to have weekly show matches. It was supposed to start with a show match. It kind of evolved into us going through replays, and I really like where we're going with the replay, where we take a replay and we have 2 players jump in from a certain spot after we've theory crafted about what could happen or what should have been done. I like that, but I put the money up for this if you guys want. I think it would be a good idea.
I love you, man, but you're not getting Flash.
No, I'm not saying Flash. I know. But I was just asking like different players that you would feel. And yeah, we're not going to get Flash, but there are players that we could get that could, put on a good show and get us what we want to see. So maybe we should hash this out a little bit later.
Actually, that's what I threw in. One of the most unique mech styles I think I've ever seen, and I've actually literally never seen anyone replicate it since. There was one of these mined out maps back on Habitation Station, so gold gone, regular base is gone, all the gas is gone. It was Slivko versus Cross. And Cross actually did this thing where he didn't have any siege tanks, he was out of gas, so he couldn't make more. Like he had like 5 or something against Swarm Host armies. So what he ended up doing was making this like crazy like auto turret wall with like point defense drones, and I was shocked at how well that worked. But I guess like you obviously want the energy for seeker missiles or other things if possible, but I thought that was really cool, just as a side note thing as far as like the extremes of mech go.
Mechs, it's I think we're in a wave now where if you would have gone back earlier this year, I think that Zerg was having a lot of trouble with mech, and I think it's pretty balanced now. I think that if you straight up mech, we're not going to that stupid turtle Raven mass Raven style. I think that Zerg is able to deal with it pretty well. I don't think it's as Terran favored, but thoughts on you guys? As far as the balance of it in general, not necessarily how hard it is to deal with. Steven?
Can you say that again? Holy fuck, I just fucking blanked. What?
Sorry. Earlier this year, I felt that Terran had the upper hand on mech. When it came to mech against Zerg. Terran was doing really well with it. Season 1 of this year. Now, at this point, do you feel that it is balanced as far as, if we're not talking turtle mech, we're not talking them getting into ravens, we're just talking mech in general.
Oh, just like normal mech playing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't play good enough Terran State, and I haven't watched enough games. Normal mech feels kind of shitty to me. It feels like it sucks. Like, if the Zerg sets up correctly and they kill one army, like, you're instantly fucked. Like, there's just no coming back from that. It's like, when you kill a bio army, like, you had to use all of your banelings to do it, and then you went with Mutal Link to the Terran base, and they've already got more units waiting. Okay, I can't end the game. When you kill a Terran mech army, you usually have a fuck ton of shit left over, because if you killed it, you probably got a perfect surround, you fucked everything up, you remaxed, and you run to their base, and they have, like, 2 tanks waiting for you, and then you just steamroll everything. I think that Terran mech is kind of bad compared to Terran Bio. I I wouldn't call that like. I mean, I wouldn't call it overpowered or anything at all, or anything even close to that. But
It's frustrating.
I don't play really. What do you mean by that? Like playing against it, or?
Yeah, like when you watch it play out too. I mean, even again, I know everyone in chat's jumping on my ass because I'm not a Grandmaster player, guys. But I sit here and I cast fucking Koreans all goddamn day, and I've seen firsthand like the way this goes in a lot of regards. And I don't think there's a single Zerg player comes into that and he goes like, "Boy, I'm looking forward to this. This is gonna be fucking fun." Either dealing with like that really powerful 150 push or the extreme late games that we've been describing up to this point.
Sure.
I mean, don't you agree? Like, it's got like good versus bad aside. It's frustrating for every Zerg player, I think.
I mean, if I identify mech early on and I know that it's not a player that is going to do some late game bullshit, personally, I'm kind of happy to see it. I don't have too many problems with it. I usually try to suicide in a few Vipers. If you land 1 or 2 blinding clouds, you'll annihilate the entire army. Sometimes, but I mean, it's a really swingy thing too. You fuck the engagement up and you'll lose your entire army for free, and then it feels like you're playing 2011 Protoss, and then you lost everything and you can't remax on shit, and then you die. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. It depends how good the player is playing the mech.
Okay. There's a question for you, Steven, on Reddit now. I haven't read it yet, though, so I actually am not going to field that until I've read it over.
Dude, like, think before you speak. I mean,
man, you know, there wouldn't have been that bad if you hadn't brought more attention to it, Graham. God.
Sorry, dude. This is your mistake for inviting me on. You know I call you out on your shit.
I know. One day I'll learn from it. One day I'll get better. I think that I'm glad we got in a little bit of talk. Gillyweed, you still there?
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'd actually messaged that if you needed to go, you could.
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. I didn't want to jump in that awesome talk, though. But thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for coming. Thank you for sticking around through all that.
No problem. I will see you guys later. Enjoy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Gilly.
Bye.
Contact who? Super Melons, Malians.
Wow, that toxic masculinity forcing our only female guest from the
Oh,
call.
was it? What the
I
fuck?
feel about that like
Yes.
Yeah, you're the one who brought it up. Like, you kind of like, oh, so maybe you should go, Gilly.
No, it was I had messaged her and she's on her phone, so she probably didn't see it. So I was just.
Gotta save face. I get it.
It's all good, mate. We know what it's like. We're all
Did you read the
toxic
PR for
males, too.
DreamHack or?
Oh, I like you guys. You guys are nice. Now you kill my train of thought, and I don't know what to say. I think that wraps it up for the most part.
Hey, so I got a question. Is Fragbite and IEM, are they happening the same day? The 7th?
I think so, but because there's a 9-hour time difference, there shouldn't be any overlap.
Okay. I was just looking at calendar stuff because I'm trying to plan something out, and I was like, man, that's such bad planning.
32 boys, 1 cup 2 confirmed.
What?
60, you go with 64 boys this time.
So, actually, are you doing another tournament? Is that what's coming up?
No, I got a show match I saw out. We originally had Starbuck versus Grubby a little while back, but Grubby's been a little bit busy, so we're trying to find someone else for Starbuck to play against. So, we have some things possibly planned. I've mentioned several times on the stream at this point. I'm not shy about it. Like, we met with some people at BlizzCon that are really cool and adamant about possibly funding some events, but that's all up in the air still. Yeah, I mean, my idea is, like, I don't have the success with Destiny when it comes to crowdfunding, but I mean, if we got money to do things, I will fucking run them. Like, it's so. Sadly, Base Rate TV is always playing it by ear.
Hey, you guys do a great job, so I don't see any problem with the way you've been running things. Guys, I'm not going to call a velo. I've offered to call a velo because genuinely, there are times I want to hear what a velo has to say. Just to, I really think a lot of the time it's an act. But either way, I have offered. He's not coming. So whether or not you think it's a good idea or a bad idea, it is not happening. Unless he changes his mind. But
for better or for better.
Yeah. So yeah, that's anyway. So with that, I think we're gonna call it a show. We've been on here for 3 hours. That's about an hour more than I'd planned. So thank you, Pengwin, Destiny, Rifkin. Penguin, we'll start with you. Any
what
shout?
About Gillyweed? God, dude,
she's gone. I thanked her. Quit trying to do. Stir shit.
Shoutouts, man.
God.
Wow.
Well, she was pretty quick to go.
It's the late gamer gate. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus.
Fuck you.
Oh,
Oh man. God. Well, first of all, let me just say thank you to Gillyweed. And if you guys don't watch Gillyweed's shit, you should. She puts out a lot of good content, a lot of good interviews, and I'll link you to her YouTube channel in a second. But
Dude, by the way, Gillyweed is so fucking adorable, guys. Like, whether it's in her videos or in real life, like, you can't help but just smile talking to her. She's such a nice person, and it does kind of suck that she wasn't able to be more involved today.
I'm Gillyweed.
Internet issues and whatnot.
this is her YouTube channel. Check out her videos. She does a lot of good content, and yeah, if you ever get a chance to meet her in person, like at an event or something, really great person to talk to. Really friendly. Pengwin.
Yes.
Let's hear your shout-outs.
All right. So, first of all, shout out to my team, My Insanity. Shout out to our sponsors, Logitech G, Bison, World of CD Keys, and Esport Clothing. And yeah, we just announced a Hearthstone team, so if you're into that, go check that out at myinsanity.eu. That's our website. You can follow me on Twitter at MYIPenguin. If you enjoyed my contributions to the show, thanks for having me, Lycan.
Hey, dude, really glad to... Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm unmuted, so good. Yeah, really glad to have you. Thank you for coming. You were last minute, and I really appreciate that.
No worries, man. Anytime.
Rifkin, thank you for coming, as always. Thank you for staying on my ass. One day it'll sink in. That's...
Phrasing, please? Just a little bit?
Yeah, anyway, with that, thank you for coming. Do you have any shout-outs?
No, none whatsoever.
No?
I guess thanks for having me on. I don't know. Guys, Lucky Group asked me like 10 minutes after I woke up, and I said sure, because I just assumed you needed somebody. So it's fun talking with people as always. Really nice seeing Pengwin again, bumping into Destiny here. Of course, Lucky Group and Gillyweed and everyone else. I shout-outs, I guess, just Bay Straight TV. Make sure you guys come watch us. We'll be casting the Go for StarCraft monthly finals tomorrow, and the DreamHack Winter. We're community cast for it. I don't know. That's, yeah.
Sounds good.
Zombie up too, I guess. She was in the chat earlier. I don't know.
Yeah. Zombie Gub stirring the chat. It's all good. It's all good. Steven, you have any shout-outs?
Thanks for having me on the show. If you guys are into music, check out my subreddit. My subreddit is called Destiny. I posted my 5th composition challenge today. I'm looking for more entrants there. If you compose music or write music, check that out. There's prizes, $75 if you're one of the top 2 people, $75 for both. Yeah, that's all I got for now.
Oh shit, you have the actual Destiny subreddit.
Yeah, I do, motherfucker. And the Destiny YouTube.
Oh, bam, look at that.
Wow.
I've been to your sub, but I never like directly typed it in, so it was always through a link. So I never knew that you had the actual that's pretty cool. Did anyone ever write you and be like, "Hey, we want that for Destiny?" The game?
Oh, the game.
Yeah, there was a huge shitstorm. There was a huge shitstorm when that Destiny game started getting popular. People came flooding over and posts like, "Why does this fucking asshole no name have this fucking subreddit? Oh, he was a good person." Yeah, there were a lot of fucking people mad as fuck. We still get posts every day in the subreddit. Hey, level 35 raider, like anybody want to come to like the great Bungie civilization? I don't know.
Why are they downvoting my posts?
I bet.
Oh no, it's never downvoting. It's actually the responses are actually pretty funny. I actually feel bad. I actually got a guy to moderate now to
I was gonna say, I imagine
remove them because some of them are pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, I don't see your subreddit treating those people too well.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'll have to tune in now just so I can check that stuff out. But thank you for coming. Where can people find you? Did you already say that? I think you did. Yeah. So
Me?
yeah.
Oh yeah, just my website, Destiny.gg. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. You guys make the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Gillyweed, for coming on. That was awesome. Thanks you, Axeltoss, for coming on. Everyone, if you like the show, please hit that follow button. This is my Twitter at LikenGTV. Please help me become more of a social media whore. And with that, please feel free to write. Yeah.
Can I give another shout out?
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to Lycan Grove for making sure to put his thing on Team Liquid this week.
Aww.
He didn't.
That was sarcasm.
Wait, oh.
You forgot to do it last week too, man. You gotta get on this.
I was at the fucking hospital. I didn't have time to do that shit.
Not gonna lie, that's pretty good viewership for not being on TL.
Yeah, well, I guess I have Destiny and Rifkin on here, so their streams pull in a lot of...
Gillyweed, yo.
And Pengwin.
Well, no. I wasn't saying it because
Jesus.
If you're gonna twist everything I say into how I'm fucked up, I'm
Just
saying
so mean, dude.
I'm not mean. I'm saying that you guys hosted, so you guys brought a lot. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Gillyweed is unimportant or Pengwin is unimportant. I'm just saying that you guys hosted, and that is a genuine big chunk. In fact, I'll look at the stats, and I bet it's like you wouldn't have gotten Dick, Jared, if it hadn't been for Steven. So, anyway.
Now what am I? Chopped liver? Jeez.
I love you, Graham. I really do.
All right, I'm leaving. Bye.
Bye, Steven. Bye, Stefan. And bye, Rifkin. Everyone have a good night.